Good evening, folks. Good to be back here again. As you join us, do us a favor, share the podcast. Invite somebody, tell somebody else. The closing argument is here tonight. In studio is the man Henry. Henry, and of course, mine is also with us in studio. We are grateful to be back here again to discuss national issues. So, as you join us, share the podcast, have other people to be a part of the conversation tonight. Before we start our conversation, let's just hopefully get a few words from the folks back home in studio, giving us some update as far as current events. Henry, what's going on, boss man? You're muted, boss. Henry, you're muted if you're talking. All right, I guess Henry, can you hear me? All right, let me see if I can unmute you from my side. Henry, you're muted. Have have Myean try to unmute you. You still appear to be muted. You're still muted. Uh, they can probably can't hear me. I can hear you. I can't hear you, Henry. Unmute yourself. You're still muted. Maya, can you unmute Henry? Can you unmute Henry from your side?
We are all working together like we always say, in and out of unity, all going to be smooth. So many thanks to the technical department for always holding ground alongside with us. We're making sure that this program can be a way to talk issues as it relate to Liberia. This is Liberia. This is our own. So again, let me say welcome. Whatever you joining us from across the 15 counties, you could be there in Lofa, in Nimba, Wapolu, Sando, whatever you joining us, whatever the time may be at your end. We'd like to say welcome, and to all our viewers, we would also like to say welcome again. Welcome to a one thing you can do for all is to share the show. That's the best thing to do. Help us to share the show so that the message will cut across. It will not just be you. So at about this time, someone there sitting there at the attire shop, and then yeah, that song playing respect. They said, no, the closing argument is about to come on. That's the intro. Once you hear that song, it means that we are out for business. We are ready to talk issues about Liberia. We are ready to set the pace to call our leaders to order. Say, no, you are not doing this. This is not right for the people of Liberia. Come on. We are here to signal them. We are here to, somebody say you pinch you on the side. No, no. Come on, don't slip off. Come on. We are not just here to say the good, but rather, when they say the good, we're going to say it. When they err, we are still going to say it because we want the best for Liberia. This is our own. So that's it. That's my own way of starting the show today. Let me say how
That was fantastic, Henry.
with the man Ansel Sally and the man Maya Torgbean together. We're going to be driving you through through the hour. So one thing I kept my mind. This could be my opening. I observed that was earlier this morning. Uh, we are about to get into the rainy season.
Mm-hmm.
We are about to get into the rainy season.
Mm-hmm.
We are about to get into the rainy season. I'm saying it over and over. I'm saying it over and over because I know what it takes in Liberia when we are into the rainy season. How it can be like you find a lot of families around. You hear a lot of SOL calls around What mechanism are we putting in place? Let me say, my condolences to the people of Nima County. Let me say my condolences to you guys. I know it is not an easy thing. You guys are going through a whole lot at about this time. Yes. Uh, yes. So take heart. That's it. But like I was saying, we are getting into the rainy season. Just this morning, those of you that was awake by that time, you know what I'm talking about. As early as that was around 4 to 5, 6 o'clock. You know, it has been a wet day for us here in Liberia. What mechanisms are you putting in place? Those of you that live in the swamp, what mechanism are you putting in place? Because from what I'm observing, the rain going to be heavy this year. Like last year, we there were a lot of things that we experienced over the time. There were times family went out to look for daily bread for their kids, and at the end, just to return home, there were a lot of bad news around. So it's gonna be power pack on tonight. Too many things to talk about, too many issues to talk about, but we will have to put our feet to the ground to make sure that we not be a victim of the coming rainy season. My people, it is about Liberia. Please do not cut the trees. Most of you, you're good about cutting down the trees from the yard. The storms, they are all gearing up. As maybe the way Liberia, we are into our two seasons, rainy seasons and dry season. At the dry time, we all can enjoy, we wash our clothes, they're going dry on time, and then the sun and so forth. But please, those of you that live in a swamp, if you have to dig your waters around, come on, do that as early as possible. Government gonna come, but someone will like say, uh, what dry does sweet, but what gonna be eating before the dog get dry? So before government comes in, early preparation, you start to do your own things. Government gonna come in because when you get worse, they will come. But before they come, your life matters a whole lot. Your kids, people are not in Liberia. The poor people, the family who don't have food, you always find them in the swamp. That's it. You know what I'm talking about. The people who don't have, they're always in the swamp. So you go to find food for your kids, the morning hour, and then coming back home, you say, oh, your child left in the water. We experienced that last year. We experienced that last year. Let us put some mechanism in place so that we will not experience what we experienced last year because it will be too sad. It will be too sad. You see today it's been very cold in Liberia. Very, very cold. It's been very cold since this morning. Just the first day, so I was telling someone, just imagine the ranger testing what. They just test what small see everybody just cool. Everybody just chilling around. So let's put our hearts in order. It's not too late. Before government comes in, you'll be your own security. So those of you that are in the swampland, do something about it. Dig your guadars early, pull your bags around. We'll dig the guadar, then we'll pour sand in the bag, and then we'll put it around. Yes, to avoid some of these things. And then some of you guys are there in the same community, the roads, the potholes. You find the water sitting. If it will cause you to do a guadar around that road, just for your own safety. Go about doing that early at this time. You see, waiting for government, yeah, they will come in. We look at the time. Will it be at the appropriate time, the time you wanted to come in? But think of your life. So that's it. Let me say, Lofa, what's up?
Henry, thank you. That was a brilliant
I'm
intro.
not getting you. You getting me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, okay. It's better.
Okay. I was
Okay.
just saying that was a brilliant intro. Great analysis. Great touch on what we would normally call the icebreaker. That was a fantastic one. You broke the ice utilizing the right discussion point, and I must commend you for that. Great, because I think we spoke about this yesterday when we spoke of the the agency that manage the disasters. Okay, I
Disaster
guess
management.
right, the disaster management agency. We spoke of what is done, what preparation are made, okay, to prevent, to save lives and property, to prevent the destruction of lives and properties. You know, most recently, my personal experience in the North Carolina area, we had a hurricane, okay, and when hurricane came around, the governor, okay, solicited funds, made funds available, grants were made available for citizens that were in the hard hit areas. Okay,
Hmm.
if you were a victim of the hurricane, as a matter of fact, there were hotels that were paid for. The government paid for these hotels. All citizens needed to do, they simply just needed to go and provide their ID cards, show their
So,
ID cards. Go
so
ahead.
please break it down a bit for the on my way there in Gegedu. When you say the hurricane,
Right.
they
Okay.
all
So
understand.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, there was a heavy rain, and it
Okay.
came with wind, and that caused a lot of damage. Something similar like to what is experienced in Liberia, but
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
Liberia, it's often referenced. I think the flood. We do have flood here too, but
Yeah.
this one, the hurricane, the heavy wind, the water is taking over people property, cars,
Sure.
people cars, and homes are being broken down. So what happened here was the governor, okay, they they made funds available, and I'm starting with the least of it. You know what they first of all started to do prior to
No.
the hurricane, before the hurricane even started, the meteorologist, the people who tell the weather,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
the meteorologist already had the entire state. We were notified, the entire matter of fact, the entire country. We were notified of the hurricane. Okay. And then when it actually hit the land, we already had a place. We already had a place that was set up. The
Hmm.
governor himself was at that station. And I'm not saying he said, because I went there. Okay, our IT crew needed to set up his workstation, his workplace where they were working up. Our rangers, fire service men who were going out there and needed tech support. We needed to make all of these, all of these features or amenities available for them. So anything they needed to do to make sure that people were safe, the governor was there. The only thing that was why he was there, and I'm telling you this, Henry, I'm not saying somebody else's narrative. I'm telling you because I went there. I had to deliver a couple of computers, laptops, and stuff, printers while they're there. One of the rangers, as a matter of fact, he's a very good friend of mine.
Hmm.
He actually slept there 2 nights. And guess what he was doing? His
Right.
responsibility was to coordinate with other rangers who were assigned to areas that were hardly hit, providing support for them, giving directions. He was there. So when I went out there to deliver the laptop, I had to get pat down completely. The governor over there, you're not just walking in there. Of course, the governor's over there. The top political figures in that place. But the most important part of this conversation is this: why all of these things were going on? The people were focused on their citizens.
Yes.
The disaster management agency, they have money in the budget already for them. Look in your budget. I talked about this yesterday, and I'm glad you brought this up. When you talk about disaster, and you mentioned the fact that government will come in Liberia, no government come in. Individual pretending to be humanitarians will use this opportunity instead of them having to utilize the power that is invested in them to apply the initiative to some kind of government initiative, but they want to do it individually. Yes, there are individuals who contribute, who will get involved, even here in the United States. But that is after the initiative has been taken by the government.
Yes.
Because the government is that source, that primary source of support. It shouldn't have to be a Lofa Julius. It should not have to be Henry. It should be the government. And that is why we always speak of proper planning. Any government that comes to power and have no proper plan in place, they always fall flat on their faces. I go back to the story I was narrating earlier. Guess what? The state made available hotels. It's called lodging. They made hotels available for people who were hit hard. If they needed to evacuate those folks from their homes, they gave them locations. All of the hotels in areas that they knew of these things, it was communicated to them. So all you had to do, you take your ID card, you go there and say, hey, I'm a hurricane victim and I need a place to lodge. They'll tell you, okay, here. They sign you in. That bill goes to the state. Okay? You get up in the morning, you have breakfast. Okay? You have breakfast to eat. And besides that, guess what the state did? The state started to give out what we call the per diem. They were giving out on their debit cards. They were handing out debit cards to people so that they can go purchase food. This was from the state. All you needed to go to was to go to one location. You provide the information, where you live, which part of the city or state you are, put all of this information, give your social security number, all of these things, which is also documented based on the system. And by the time you're leaving from there, they activate your card. You walk away. You go buy your food. That card is specifically for you to purchase food and water for you and your family. Now, that is what you consider preparation. They didn't have to say, I didn't see our senators coming out here and talking about they're going to say hello to everybody, each house, to pay for their homes and all of those nonsense that we see in Liberia. We didn't see representatives coming out here to put up their shoulders and behave as though they're humanitarians when they don't even understand the responsibility for which they were elected. That is not your responsibility. Nobody hired you to be a humanitarian. Yes, you can apply that humanitarian aspect of things, but guess what? Make sure the legislative projects are completed, implemented, so that when you're no longer in office, guess what? John Brown can come to office and continue what you started. But when you start to carry on these individual projects, guess what? If you're no longer in office and you decide to stop, it stops. But your legislative project, it benefits every length and breadth of that country. That's why people in the Western world, in developed countries, they ask for their people to implement these legislative projects when you are coming to office. Upon your ascendancy to that office, you should have had an agenda. So the day you put your foot in that office, you already know what your people wanted. The issue of drug abuse. You extended to the office and knew there and then and said, look, my first day in office, these are some of the things I want us to start to look at. Job creation, the fight against drugs, crime rate. How can we amp up our security so that my Mary will not have to worry when she's going to the market in the morning? Because there will be security officers who are getting paid timely, and their work is highly appreciated. That's part of the reason why in the United States, police officers don't take bribe. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, guess what? There aren't bad police officers. You know, everywhere you go, there are bad people.
Sure.
In some instances, okay, yeah, there are bad cops. But I can tell you for a fact, it's very limited. But if I were to come to Liberia today, guess what? The police officers are almost the one who are standing in the streets begging because we have not valued their contributions. We should invest in these police officers so that they are proud to be servicing the country. We should invest in these medical practitioners, the nurses and doctors. These people are the ones who are saving lives and properties. When we start to show some value to them, then you will see reason why when you hear a fire, the fire service will come running. You know that in the United States, not all of the fire service officers start off being employed. Some of them start off as volunteer because of the level of passion. I work with some of these people because we provide technology training for some of them. Okay, for the park system. So we know these things. Some of these young people, because of the passion for law enforcement, they start being a ranger at the park, and then they work their way up to becoming a police officer. And the belief in the ethics that comes with that responsibility that they possess. Because the level of investment that is made for them. How many of us can say the same thing? It's not based on an individual effort that we can transform Liberia. The government must do her part. It starts with the budgetary allocations. How much money are we investing? Henry, here, I got to take this call real quick. Please go ahead and continue the show real quick. I will be right back.
Okay, so that's what, Lofa, you just do it again. So as it relates to that, most time, when we see that, and then we see maybe let's assume we got a flood took on Mount Barclay. That's the time you see humanitarian organization come in instead of government taking on that. You see humanitarian organizations coming, you see organizations, you see individuals coming to do their part. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be an individual. It should be government that should be running to save their citizens' life. It is about the citizen. It is not about an individual. That's just it. So while other countries can do it, we cannot do it. But yet still having a government.
Right.
Other countries doing it around. Why can't we do it? That's the time you will see it. Let's assume when flower people Duper Road today, you see one man will just get up. He say, oh, people become homeless. He just go doing your own part of thing, his own
initiative.
His own part of initiative. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. There should be some form being placed aside for emergency so that when this situation arise or when it come up, we can go there strictly to help to seek the interest of the citizen. But like I always say, we have social politicians here. They are not politicians, rather. They are not, because a true patriot will always think of his or her citizen. He will not go satisfying himself at the moment. He must always think of his citizen. But how many of them are waiting on to take on that task? How many of them is just about enriching themselves, their kids, living good life, living the rosy life, whining and dining day and night? And while the ordinary people who stood in the queue over the time are zero, they are suffering. They are suffering. So what you see here, this is yesterday, you guys were on it, today we're on it again, especially when it comes to the relationship business. Let's watch and see. There are times we'll come on the same show, on the same platform, and then we'll be like putting our videos up of floor victims. You guys want to see it. Let's just watch the process. The process is on. It is no far. Very shortly.
But Henry,
come on.
Speaking of that, right? Let me just read for you. And this caught my attention, and that's the reason why when you started the conversation with this, I said, great. There's a reason why probably God led you to bring us in this direction. Let's discuss the National Disaster Management Agency. You see here, right? You see this document right here. You see that, right?
Yeah.
Henry, great. So I grabbed this document. It is directly from the budget, and I look at 2025. And I'm thinking to myself, considering the fact that there was so much fire, the fire is also considered disaster. Okay, we would have hopefully put enough money in the budget and put a plan in place, hoping that the disaster management agency will now see reason to go out there and apply these preventative measures. What are some of the reasons? And hopefully carry on some of these assessment to understand
Yes. Yes.
why is there so much fire? After this entire incident that we talked about prior to coming live, you and I were talking about what's happening in LA. Right after this entire thing, you will see the level of work that will be put into place. Matter of fact, people today, they are criticizing the mayors of one of the cities out there. They're claiming that she didn't do her job. She should have done much to prevent what happened. They're blaming her. Even though it is being reported that this is natural disaster, but they're blaming this woman, and other, minority women are now coming out in her defense. They're saying, no, you're not going to blame her. All right, she's playing her part. But these are some of the things that we will speak to when it comes to Liberia. Let's forget about disaster. Let's just talk about the day-to-day issues. Let's talk about quality education. You will think that when the budgets are created, we will have just much in the budget for education. Public schools should have transportation. There should not be some kind of campaign message for one political candidate who thinks that he wants to buy the votes of these young people, so they will come and give them 1 or 2 buses, and then they will not even put in place maintenance processes so that those buses are maintained. But because it is all based on campaign, so at the end of the day, guess what happens? You, the people, end up as victims. But guess what, Henry? The hard truth of this, and the bad part about it, is 95% of these people, their family members are not in Liberia. You're the victim. You're the direct victim. A lot of your government officials, their family members are not in Liberia. They are either in Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, or other parts of the world. As a matter of fact, most of them in the United States benefited from system that works. And you, the people, a majority who vote these people into office, you are the victims. You are being victimized, and they do not care. It's not about them, Henry. It's not about you, excuse me. It's about them. When we talk about clean water, when we talk about sanitation, all of these things can only be done if you prioritize these things based on budgetary allocation. You sitting there and talking about it, we can write all the documents in the Word. We can have all of the good proposals in the Word. If it is not done, if it is not applied, the people will not benefit from all of these things. So all you're doing is you're preaching to the choir. You're telling me to read the Bible when you yourself, you're not even going to church. Neither are you even looking at the Bible. You don't even know what the Bible is. You go to the shrine. You go to the country doctor, and you're telling me to sit home and read the Bible because I want salvation. That is how your government officials and self-proclaimed politicians are behaving. And that's why I reference them as politicians. They're not in your interest. Henry, if those people were in your interest, the University of Liberia will be the state-of-the-art university today, with up-to-date technology and laboratories put in place so that other countries can come and visit that country. They will support the institution. If they care about you, they would prioritize education so that every public schools, whether it is high school or junior high school, elementary school, whatever the situation may be, they will invest. They will put funds aside for those institutions. They will make sure that teacher trainings are done, These teachers are trained because these are the people who are creating the next future leaders, the people who will steer the affairs of the state. It's unfortunate that you will think one politician who simply comes every day and carry on some of these backdoor projects, build you one little hand pump, is in your interest. But you're also not taking into consideration how much money you pay him. Henry, you are the employer of these guys. These politicians are pretending. You employ them. They should listen to you. These politicians who present themselves as humanitarians, they should not be given any room. They should not be given any much more value than how they present themselves unless their work show who they are. So when we're talking about disaster, Henry, it only proves to me that they don't care. Because as I read the budget, I don't see much that is made available for disaster recovery and all of these things. If it can happen in the United States, it can happen in Liberia. Let nobody fool you. The Caucasian man is not smarter than the Liberian man. The only reason why things work successfully here is because the systems are put in place. Welcome to the show, my brother Sylvester.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are discussing the issue of disaster.
Who making my nephew vessel?
Everything in Liberia.
The whole country didn't watch that.
The entire country is pissing me off right now.
Drink some water. When you one thing to me about you, bro. If you worry about a broken problem, one day you're for and I have the beat, then you go there. So don't worry about it too much.
Oh, yeah.
You talk so small.
Actually, you're right on that part. We would do a little by little, but
yeah, that was
when the wires strike, we hit them up a little bit. But anyway,
we'll do a bit and pieces.
Because if we see the way we handle things, we can say, "Oh yeah, the country is down, and you're right. And I mean, the people they're not setting special human being goldfish.
Yeah,
as a Caucasian, man, right? They're not special. And as the Bible says, God made man in his own image, right? And the basic is that even the Bible, they say you seek. So those people are seeking a lot of issue, and they brought technology to bear to transform the outside of the world and even impact other countries, if you will. If you were to sit here today and see things that are unfolding all over the place, if we can come here to see, because I mean, we can never even get close to bringing our society on par with here, but we can learn a lot of things about governance to do some things to improve for our people, like the bread and butter issue of our country, like making sure that people will get what they deserve, if you will, or what is entitled to them, because it's part of this basic process about this social contract theory we signed with the people. And the people already met their side of the bargain in terms of this theory. And then what came? The government, the state got the power to provide all the necessary necessity for the people. And by doing that, he put into place a proper mechanism that will move to seek their interests and to create the ambience for everyone to go into a competitive society, if you will, and try to change things. If things are done in that way, for instance, it will be okay. And we have all those things that I agree, disaster don't happen in our country at a very hard and serious skill in terms of in a major developed country like here, what is happening today in California, if you will. Imagine if those kind of things were to happen in our country. But what can even happen in the country, we don't have appropriate response mechanism we've put into place. And that should be part of the process of saying, how much are we putting there for folks? Why are those means? And how can we do things to avoid? Because for ours, we can avoid them in terms of flood and other things, other disasters. So there are some that will just erupt, that is not a man-made. What is just completely natural, but what we can try to avoid as people, we should try to endeavor to do those things that will help us move and protect the country. But yes, I agree with you. I don't know the baseline. Maybe Lofa just went, or maybe Tomalin would update me. I don't know the baseline of today's discussion. What are we primarily looking at today? And then we would use that as a means of jumping into other situations. But then other things happen. And I was just looking at a video quickly when previously released arrived in Ganta. I know that was Ganta. It was, I don't know, Tomalin, did you see that?
I watched snippets of it.
Yeah, I saw the video just now. Yeah. But again, I'm not actually surprised. I'm not surprised. I saw that kind of a rousing welcome to the remains of the late senator. I'm not surprised actually, but again, that's Nyenwolo, and I expected them to. I think that will continue up to the day of his burial, if you will. That was an extraordinarily huge turn up in Ganta. I'm saying I want to see what's going to happen where they're going to instantly include in other areas. They're going to. I know that the Myean are going to really come out to give him that respect. That I know. I can bet everything that I have they're going to do that again. Again, he was just this very controversial element in our country, and will be the stage for discussion.
Well, it's good to be back on the closing argument. I've been stuck in the snow. It's so much snowing on my end. What kind of snow business? There's snow here, kill people. But it's good to be back. Today is Thursday, the 16th of January, 2025. I want to welcome everyone. We are on the radio, True FM in Liberia, and going around the country. We also on YouTube and so forth. But I want for us to talk about the LBS workers and calling on the Director General, giving 72 hours ultimatum, and using Lamin Fagon. In fact, Fagon, I spoke today for a length of time, and he told me that he's having a major press conference tomorrow, and where he's going to prove, everything the guy said today in that press conference he had, that press briefing, he was proving wrong. We provide documentary evidence against everything the guy said about him being this and that. But I think he believes also that other people are trying to use these guys. But he said he would prove the guy wrong, and he will come out tomorrow with the public. And he said he wanted to stay from off all the platforms till he have his press conference office, which is fair enough. So tomorrow he said he will be having a major press conference, and he will have the workers, the names of people that the guy called will be standing by him, and with document checks and everything. He gave me instances about one of the person the guy talked about. He said the lady that went with the president, I think, to Sierra Leone and then to Ghana and to Bassa, and they were paid. It's some for the money, $277, I think, and so forth. He said so he'll be proving it tomorrow. So, but I just want for us to weigh in before he comes in, the press conference tomorrow. I want to find out from you guys what your take. You guys been around for long. You guys are all veteran when it comes to these kind of things. You know how to really pick and know exactly what's happening. But I want to hear from you. Like people want to hear from you on the radio. Maybe we'll just be Lofa, do the lines later on. But Lofa, let's start with you, Lofa. What do you think happening over there? You think Fagon is let us all be honest and be objective and take our partisan hat and everything. If we get people Fagon, let us put it aside. But from others, yes. You think what the guy said today?
You want to say Fagon now?
No, I think it's not about it.
I said the other one. You think they want to get people? Nobody get.
All right, so
most of the time,
Fagon is very irresponsible in terms of managing relationships, respecting other people. He's very emotional. That's his problem, right? We went through election process. Fagon had nothing to do with to carry my impact. I will suffer. But me going against Joseph Parker, I mean, was suffer.
Fagon should have said because you need
I ain't saying I mean, was suffer me.
You suffer.
I ain't me was suffer. Fagon. You guys,
So
I mean, suffer. I'll go to school to suffer.
Let Lofa.
you know what? Pewee is already in the Zico. I'll let Pewee go there. He was already in. No, go ahead. I will let you go first, Pewee. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, yes. For me, that's the only line, right? But again, I love to be very honest when I do my things, and I like how Georgie put it just now, and I just try to see what I'm saying. But to be honest, right? What I observe from what is unfolding at the LBS, I want to let me give it to him. He be doing some good job there, and I don't know this trend of the budget on the most serious note as to where it's coming, but he's trying to use his connections, if you will, as the director general of the Liberia Broadcasting System to push, particularly his relationship with the Chinese is quite frankly it seems to be a very good one. In terms of what he's now doing at the broadcast, the giant state broadcast institution. So I would want to personally put it this way: apart from his own personal and petty behavior, in some cases, in the way he does things, as the head of that institution, I may not know everything, but what I'm seeing as a Liberian citizen from the perspective of Adam TV and other things in terms of the network, I think they made some good job unfolding there. On a more serious note, I would want to think that way. But the details, we needed to know most of those things. How is he going about them? Because the last time he said the budget process support coming to the corporation or to the entity, the broadcast institution, state broadcast institution, was not that sufficient. But we're seeing a lot of things unfolding. So we want to first and foremost, as he told you that he's going to be having a press conference, I would hope that his press conference tomorrow will detail most of those things as what it supports, most of the support, how is he galvanizing those support in terms of is it extended help. I do know that the Liberia Broadcast System, broadcast institution rather, is also receiving some support, subsidies, if you will, from I don't know if they still coming from Radio France, still receiving support from the BBC, and receiving support from the Chinese government. So I will hope that he will break down in terms of and inform us as to if the state broadcast institution is still receiving the support from the BBC as before, support coming up from RFI, and that of the support from the Chinese. Now, that is excluding the support coming from the national budget also. So we hope to see why is it that the employee, somebody you said group of employees calling on him to leave?
The president of the workers union had a press conference today, and he gave Fagon 72 hours to rescind some of the actions he have taken. He says if he refused to do it, they will have a go slow, and they will have a vote of no confidence in Fagon.
And what are some of those actions he took?
He said if Fagon dismissed someone, for Fagon cut some of the benefits, I think they were getting a certain amount of money for some. Maybe I'm sure Lofa got it too. Yeah. So and then also there are some funds for educational funds too. He cut it too. Okay. And people and they've been going on assignment. They weren't getting the DSA and everything. So Fagon, when he told me today, he told me he said he would disprove what the guy said with facts tomorrow. So, but let's hear from you guys. Let's hear what's up.
Oh yeah. So quick before you can come in, one thing I know is that the past administration I've been observing from LBS clearly when the late Sibley Johnson headed that institution.
Yeah, my boy.
The relationship between he and the workers were very splendid, and very splendid. When he passed, another director general that came with a very wonderful relationship with the staff also was the most recent director general, the youngest ever that took over that institution, Estelle Liberty Kehleboe. Estelle did an extraordinary job at that institution, and where everyone was very okay in terms of there was no noise. There was the synergy between she and the workforce was very good. Young staff of Deputy Titi Jibro and the rest of the other folks, they worked very well together there at the time. So I want to say this clearly to Mr. Fagon. It is time that you focus and listen to those guys. I will hope tomorrow you don't come out as the leader trying to be high, because if you push on them and they continue to insist and push back in terms of go slow and the rest of that, if there's some level of disruption unfolding over there, trust me, I don't know the mind of this leader, but it would be a good for you to hear to want to perpetrate those kind of level of belligerent activities between you, or back and forth combative things between you and the workforce. That wouldn't be a good thing. It wouldn't be a good result for you in terms of that. But what I'm seeing in recent time as to what is happening there, I mean, I think there's some good news unfolding, but the Liberian people will need some accountability as to how those funding are coming, if there's disclosure on those kind of lines. Because if you talk about speak equity, you come with your hands absolutely clean also. But that's only the thing I was saying. But again, as you said, you're trying to say, I try to interrupt that lastly here. My point was that the way he moved on doing things sometimes, I mean, it's more like erratic than wanting to be very composed and diplomatic in terms of exhibiting yourself as a leader. So that's just the process he will have to do and listen to. But you have to pay key attention to those staff. Some of them being there for years. To just go and want to get them out and change the system and reinvent the wheels. No, it's not the way to move things in the kind of a state broadcast institution. It's an institution that should be serving the Liberian people, not to go there and be creating division to get rid of other people and believe you're going to do this kind of a thing. No, those salacious attitude we have to stop. It's wrong.
Okay, you're from Lofa, but before Lofa come in, let me just say this. The chairman of the board of directors of LBS, the Minister of Information, Jerry Limick, he's the chairperson of the board of directors. That's been the set up for many years. The Minister of Information chairs the board of LBS. But let Lofa weigh in, and then Ben will come in, and then I will come in too. But go ahead, Lofa.
So let me say this, and this is coming from much more from the perspective of a professional work environment. There are kinds of leadership.
Why you working?
You have Ben. Come on, man. You're on the platform. You're literally just gonna interrupt while someone is deliberating an issue, and we want to talk about the lawmakers and
it's very unprofessional on your part, man. You got to stop doing those things.
It's unprofessional. Unprofessional.
Go ahead.
And so back to what I was stating earlier, there are various kinds of leadership and how people carry on these leadership. One can decide to micromanage. Okay. It depends on the results of your micromanagement. And one can be hands off, but provide needed support when it is needed. Again, let me say this. Eugene, everyone here know that Fangon and I can't take a step from here to there. But the honest truth is this. The role that Fangon is occupying, it requires technical understanding of the environment, because you must understand how to improve. You must know how to be innovative. In addition to your innovative thoughts, you must also come in with that professional idea as to how you can, collaborate efforts to achieve your goal. LBS is an entity that requires result. It's result driven. Like most government entity or institutions, they are result driven, but specifically LBS, because that is the source of the state's information. LBS should be that primary source of information for the country. When we are talking about county meat, we should be looking in that direction. Now, considering all of that, you will think that there will definitely be office politics. And that's why I often say to people all the time, people say, oh, not everything is politics. Your entire life is politics, even when you go to work. What I observed from the incident that is taking place at the LBS, guess what's happening? It is mere politics, but office politics. Someone somewhere feels like Fangon should not apply his idea of micromanagement. They have become accustomed to the hands-off approach. And Fangon is now bringing in a different culture, something they are not accustomed to, so they want to step back and say, no, you're not doing that. We cannot change Liberia with that mentality. Let us look at his output. Let us look at his result. Why I agree that Fangon has a loud mouth, which is one of his greatest weapons that he think that he can use everywhere, even though it has not proven to be successful, but he feels like he can use it. We must still credit this young man for what is being done at the state broadcasting agency. LBS was never meant for a group of people to simply just go sit behind the radio. You have this program and then you go. It must bring the innovative approach to information dissemination. Okay? And that is the role that Fangon is playing. He got to think outside the box. How can I make sure that information is available to the women in Zelekule or Litisu, my dad's town? How can I make sure that my great-great-great-grandparents in Litisu shouldn't have to get off the farm to get messages sent to them? When that thought is put in place and is applied, guess what? The broadcasting system, the system itself, and the director have done their part. How can they be successful at implementing? This is where you apply the outside knowledge, but unfortunately, Fangon have no outside experience. I don't think he will understand this outside of the fact that he's politically motivated and charged. But had he had the opportunity to work in other professional settings, he will understand that you must bring these people with you in the process. You cannot unilaterally do this and you will fail miserably because everything will be on the forefront. But you must bring your team along with you in the process to be successful. At the end of the day, you will get the credit. But I think what Fangon is trying to do is the showmanship that will cause his failure. But we must credit the brother for his attempt, for his effort. I think he's trying. There are so much factor to the just ended press conference. But I think if he just compose himself and act orderly, he will be very successful at what he's trying to do. But I doubt Fangon is going to survive that. If he goes down this track, if you have a press conference, I'm going to have one. You go, I'm going to have one. That is a form of distraction. And I don't think President Boycott will be willing to condone that. And at the end of the day, he may have to get back on the plane and come sit here again and inform us how they won the election and how certain people are ungrateful and who live with who and who had to live on other people's couch. Then we will get all of that information. Other than that, I think he needs to recalibrate, compose himself orderly, and then hopefully address the issue at hand by bringing all members of the team together and then being able to apply what he learned when it comes to broadcasting and other aspect of it. Because broadcasting is not simply the oration aspect of it, having to sit and talk. That's not it. No, it comes with a lot. It requires a lot to be successful at it, especially you're running such an agency. And in that regards, I think he's going to struggle a lot. But I think that is what is happening. The folks out there don't want to be managed. They don't want to be micromanaged. But Fangon think the best way to manage them is to have to apply that managerial aspect or that managerial skill, micromanagement. They are not accustomed to that. They don't like that. So they are trying to be, just resist every aspect of it. And I think that's what is happening. But I think the brother deserves to be given the needed support. And hopefully he learned to shut his mouth a little bit.
Well, Lofa, you spoke well, and your remarks brings a lot of sense to the discourse right now. So we all got to unpack it and later on. But let's hear from Ben. Let's hear Ben's perspective.
Yeah.
Ben, we didn't do the tone, Jesse. You want Jesse?
Yeah, no, but man, my team is already out, so forget it.
Get to the business, man. Leave it just been there, man.
But anyway, Fagon happens to find himself in a tough place. And when I say a tough place, what do I mean? Fagon supports a government that believes anywhere majority of the people go, they're where the order of the day, where the functions of that institution goes. So Fagon can't argue now when a group of people in his department wants to say, Fagon, we find you not worthy of our leadership, because Fagon supports a government who is doing the same thing to the speaker. And here Fagon is one of those who have been defending the government, that when the people say they don't want you, they don't want you. So you see how when you support some of these bad attitudes, they sometimes have a way of coming back to you. I know he's trying to do his best, and he has some other people that are trying to undermine him from the outside, that the likes of Standards and his friends, they're trying to undermine him. But the thing is that these people were the ones that were on one side few months ago that were telling the Liberian people all kinds of things. Were they actually saying these things because they wanted position, or were they saying it because it was in the interest of the Liberian people? And I would say no, because in as much as bad as Fagon is, he's doing a good job to where he is. But because he's not kissing onto Stanton's ring, Stanton wants to undermine him. Like, how is this the nation's interest? How? Because you want everybody to kiss the ring, and when whoever does not do it, then you undermine that person. No, you're not undermine. All you're trying to do is you're trying to hurt the Liberian people. Because as bad as Fagon is, he's trying to do his best to where he is. And if you undermine Fagon and they get rid of him, guess who suffers? It is the Liberian people. But again, they say what goes around comes around. When you support the illegal, and when you say majority carries the day, the people say, Fagon, they are in the majority and they want you out. So I hope you'll be able to listen to them tomorrow. Thank you, Tomalin.
Yeah, from Abu.
Yeah, greetings to all of you, man. It's a pleasure being here. Yes, I couldn't make it because of my church schedule. But the topic on our discussion has to do with Eugene. I want to start with Lofa Julius. Eugene has been doing tremendously well since he assumed the responsibility as Director General at FBS. Like I said the other day, it is an integral part of people's nature where, in a professional area, there will be disagreement. But as a head, your ability to, erase some of the disagreement or to mitigate some of the disagreement make you to be different from other leaders. So I hope you take cue from some of the pieces of advice that have been given. If I did same with him a couple of hours ago, you should not have press conference. Then you convene a meeting and hear the side of the workforce, and then you can work on your lapses. But going to have press conference, I think you're going to deepen the homes of some people who are disenchanted in leadership. He has been doing some good job. He deserves a thumbs up.
Robert G. Garguah Jr.
Thank you, my friend. It's great to be back on. And great to see everyone. But listen, I'm not a fan of Eugene Fagon. I would not appoint him anywhere, to be honest with you. And I think politicians, for some reason, have awarded him for the role that he has played in their respective elections, and that's Liberian politics. And so, when it comes to this situation, I think politically, Eugene Fagon might just be on his way out. I foresee that the president uh, of Liberia might, and I use the word might because it's a possibility that he might survive this. But given the circumstances and given the fact that I don't see Eugene as or to be a disciplined public servant. There are certain things that you respond to. There's certain things that you say. There's certain things that there's certain battles that you pick as a public servant. You have got to distinguish the two. When you are a political pundit, you are a political pundit, and even at that, you still have got to have some level of control, right? And when you are no longer a political pundit, when you are no longer in on the campaign trail, when you are leading people, and you are at the position that you find yourself, uh, there's a certain level of discipline and professionalism that is required to be able to maneuver through these challenges and difficulties. I don't think I think what's going to hurt him is the fact that he does not have that within him to understand what comes at him, to understand what is said to him, and to understand wait a minute, does this worth mean my response? Even if I'm going to respond strategically, what would that response be like? And so I don't think he has it within him to survive this. But I will say this, and I also say this. Um, when you look at, I'm sorry, guys. Let me close my door. Okay. Okay. When you look at all of what has happened with the Stanton situation, when I talk about the response, hold on.
Uh, Look, guys, I know what that dog issue. The dog going to get ready for you, forget it. But while waiting for Robert to come and finish, but let me say this though. Let me just give you guys some guidance here. Look, Lofa, you said it well. I think. Okay, go ahead, Robert.
And so when you look at the Stanton situation and his response to that, it was kind of I don't think that you want to put yourself in that kind of back and forth, right? It was completely unnecessary, given the fact that it exposes your hypocrisy and it exposes your own limitation, right? You can't call a man criminal. You've known his case. You was there with him when he went through the case. You was there when he was found guilty of the case. We've said many times that he does not have the credibility. We said we frown on his criminality. We frown on the fact that he did not even have the decency to recuse himself from a network that other people helped him build and clear his name, right? All of these different things, right? But you stood right there by him. You sat on his platform. So even if there's a disagreement, and he boasts about feeding you and clothing you and paying your rent. At one point, people said that you lived in his basement, right? None of these actually really matter to me, right? But when you find yourself in this kind of situation and you are in the position that you find yourself in, there's some things you just don't respond to, right? You deal with internally, right? But because he wants to show that he's a tough guy, because he wants to show that he has audience, because he wants to show that I have a voice and my voice matter, right? Because he wants to show all of these things could be his downfall. And so when you looked at what he's faced with currently, all of these different distractions that he has embraced, he's embraced these distractions, coupled with the fact that you now have the employees of LPS saying that, giving your ultimatum and saying that they're at the point of losing confidence in your leadership. I think this might force the hand of the president to act, and this might land Falcone in trouble. But other than that, I think the LBS, and to be honest, I like to be honest, I think the LBS under his leadership have been moving some needle to change and transform, and for that I'll give him credit. But other than that, Scott does not know how to keep himself out of trouble.
Okay, let me come in. Lofa spoke well about the issue of micromanagement. I think that's one of the problems that I think is Fagon is struggling with at LBS. You know, being an administrator is different from being a spokesperson and someone who talks and a propagandist. So I think, and then when you at LBS, you had to do a management team. You have a management team. You have 2 director generals that you work with, principal deputies, and one of the guys is a veteran, Hassan Kehleboe, and I know he and Fagon they're having a loggerheads right now. They're not on good terms.
You have 4 deputies, director general.
Okay, 4 deputies. Okay.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, okay. So the deputies are all part of the management team.
And he's not in good terms with how many? 2 of all 4?
I think basically I want to believe what I'm getting almost all of them. Almost all of them.
So the problem is there right now. But let's forget.
It's a kind of a domineering element, right?
Fagon played a very, very important role to help the rescue get elected. One thing I'll tell people, when it comes to gifted propagandists I gave it to Fagon and Costa. They know how to make black to white. They know how to do it. They can do it. Everybody got their own gift. And 2 of them are gifted. Fagon, someone who is you saw in your CDC.
Tomalin, I had to interrupt. Please, man. Don't. I think it's unfair to Heron Costa to mention Fagon's name and Heron Costa's name in the same sentence when it comes to what you just referenced. I disagree.
But yeah, okay. But I'll tell you this.
Whoa, based on what?
Before then,
based on, I mean, they're on 2 different levels. I don't want to interrupt Tomalin, but I will respond.
Yeah, Fagon. I mean, you know that Fagon was, when the CDC government, he defended the CDC. I don't care what happened. He was there. Fagon was the face when it comes to. I mean, he was always on. He had his own facts and fiction. He was always on the net making that defense for CDC. People used to be insulting him. The very people that he supported, they used to be calling him all kinds of Liberian politics as usual. But he stood his ground. And even when I remember when we met McGill, we told him, I think we're in Florida, McGill, one time. We told him, my man, by the day Fagon got fired, what McGill that day, what was with him? And we brought her, said, my man, you guys just let go of somebody who was one of the effective surrogate. And, you know, McGill was shocked about it because he wasn't in the country. I think the president just called and told him, said, well, I let Fagon to go. So Fagon left. So, and we saw it. And when he left, I didn't see nobody who was that vocal person, who was that fire burn that for the government to come up. Honestly, I believe many people believe that if Fagon was with CDC during the election too, Fagon would have made that he would have come up with a case, made a strong case for them, and so forth. He was very effective as the era, you know. So, but now Fagon, he did it during the election. He was on Spoon. He left Spoon. He went on his own podcast. He had a talk with the cartel, talk about the he had something about the 1, 2, 3. He organized names for the election, and he made a case. Okay, and today Fagon and the president are very close to the president. I tell you that. This is a man who I'm told he can walk to the president's house anytime, go there anytime, and he not member of the cabinet, but he can go there anytime and talk to him anytime. So they have that relationship very close. So, and honestly, like the Lofa and other people said, the Chinese team, they are right now in Liberia working at LBS. They're working there. And Fagon, I'm told that when LBS have transformed in a way that when you enter LBS gate, they have a CCTV camera there. You can see you. I mean, it's organized. He's doing a lot of stuff there. But the problem that Lofa mentioned is that micromanagement. Like the problem there, where you know when you're in charge, you want to do everybody work. Everybody won't be. I think that's the problem happening. And then number 2, taking some decision, you are bringing to the management team. You forget that you can't do it unilaterally. You alone not running the show. You are bringing it to the management team for them to discuss it. But I think that's what's happening. He's not giving the guys a chance. And he has some veteran like Hassan Kehleboe been there for many years. So Hassan know all these things how LBS operate. So that's the problem they're facing too. And so, but now too, one thing too, with the relationship with the president and so forth. And then I heard the president of the Workers' Union said today that the board chairman, who is Information Minister Jeremy Pia, he and Fagon, the same both of them are cool, close. So that's another thing. Now, we saw yesterday, President Bagat suspended the NEC boss because she had problem with 25 workers. Now, but today, if you watch the press conference today, you notice that when they're talking about the workers, people were asking, where are the workers you're talking for? They were asking the president of the workers union, where are the workers? Because people, I think I counted about 10 or 15 person standing there. So we thought we are seeing a whole big part of the workforce there. But he gave Fagon 72 hours to rescind his decision and to meet the demand, or they will call a go strike, a go slow strike. They will also have a vote of no confidence in him and so forth. So that's what's happening right now. But so the question is whether the workers are doing it on their own, or there are other forces that are behind them. When I asked him, he said there are people who are involved too. He mentioned it, that people are involved. So, but tomorrow it will be a very thing. We'll listen to his press conference. But yet and still, my question to you guys is: do you think is only the workers doing it, or there are other forces, invisible hands behind it, and pushing them to go after him? Lofa, Lofa, you spoke first.
No. Pewee spoke first. I'll go after Pewee.
Thank you. Listen, I've been following the LPS workers union thing for some time now, Tomalin, and there's nobody behind it. Absolutely nobody. The problem there is if you serve in that capacity before, if you observe what happened before there, is that other leaders came, those kind of issue didn't come about, right? I think one of those that I really admire there, he was really loved when he served there. Let's say Johnson again. I just said this to you, and the recent most past Director General also. So the workers are acting on their own. They're not being. There's no motivation. There's not being some political or motivated struck from behind the scene. I don't want to think that is the case. So the best thing he have to do now as the leader, he have to deploy some of his best leadership skills. As a leader, what you do sometimes, you go after the problem and try to ascertain as to what have happened, and you sit with them and see why their concerns are. Now, if the decision taken by him to dismiss or whatsoever, if it is institutional violations, or it is something inimical towards the advancement of the institution, then you sit with them and say, hey, we have to live by rules and regulations. There are policy governing these institutions, and we have to ensure that folks will have to abide by these things. If they don't abide by them, we have to take the appropriate actions in trying to remedy the situations. Now, if the situation is somehow personal in terms of you don't want certain people because they're standing, then that is wrong. Then you have to take the approach and sit with them and get into a dialogue kind of a situation and see how you can strike the balance and have this resolved. That is a very good leadership skill. If I were in his shoe, that's what I would do. But to sit and allow this process unfold in a kind of way and believing that, and sit and try to use propaganda to this, because you don't resolve everything with a kind of a style of propaganda. No, it's not everything you resolve that way. If the workforce are threatening to go slow, and if they are adamant about what they intend to do, you have to be very mindful how you want to engage, because an attempt to escalate the situation, it may either just go bad for both you, particularly you, the head of the institution. Now, despite of your relationship with the president, the appointing power does not also give you the right to want to marginalize other people. And that's where he have to be a little bit mindful, because the president can like you and love you. And then if you consistently marginalize a group of people that will remain adamant in the institution, then the president will have to be pushed, because I don't think the president will be insensitive towards the bulk of the people of the country, right? Particularly some of those in Liberian citizens that are working at that level. And again, these are broadcast journalists. Most of them are journalists. It's not a good thing to do. The optics wouldn't be good for you. The end results wouldn't be good for you. So the best approach, I would think, is that he engaged them in terms of trying to put into place some negotiation mechanism to resolve this situation. That would be the best approach. But to close here quickly, I do not believe that this issue is motivated. No, it is not motivated. It is something that got some internal issue, and I think was triggered by some problem that he may have taken, and they don't like what he did, so they try to stand their ground to on this situation. But he can resolve it as per his good leadership skill if he has any. So he had to deploy that now.
Lofa.
So I think this is where I would disagree with Pewee. I think there are solid hands in the back. This entire uprising is motivated by folks in the back. Of course, they're not going to come to the forefront and say, "Yeah, we are part of this." Right? The issue of micromanagement, yeah, it plays a role. And if you record previously, I alluded to the fact that the micromanagement plays a role, but those who are part of the team may have been there long enough where they are very comfortable in the position they're seated in and how things have been conducted. So his attempt, okay, to recalibrate will end up with that kind of result, like what he's getting today. They would not, again, change is the kind of thing where, as human, from a managerial standpoint, not everyone is receptive to change. Even in your workplace, your home, and other these things, in order for you to make sure or to even apply it, you must be very cognizant of those around you, their reaction. They accept that are they going to accept what is being applied? And you must be able to convince those on the team that, look, while it is truth that this is not something that you're accustomed to, but these are the pros and cons, and make sure that the benefits of that change is more than the bad, or else there will be some kind of revolution. The people will revolt. And I think this is what's happening. But obviously, we cannot say for a fact that there aren't hands behind this. Yes, there are hands behind this, because there may be folks who feel like, okay, it is true that Fangon is indeed a great propagandist. And let me say this. A propagandist is not someone who simply take gossip handed to him and run with it to provide to the public. A propagandist is one who actually is capable of providing information in a convincing manner that his audience buy into the idea and run with it, regardless of whether it is false or truth. And in this case, Fangon has shown to be one of those loudmouth propagandists who have been able to make people to believe some of his stories. It was the Fangon who came up with the cartel, and that he actually literally made that a label for part of Liberia's politics today. Again, it was Fangon who came up with the Ben Sanvee 45K story, and every Liberian ran with it without having to dig deeper to inquire, okay, how is it that this is some kind of, what he claimed it was fraud. And then there were several other stories that Fangon was able to narrate. And in his narrative, he actually made people to believe it. And that is what a propagandist is. That's what a propagandist is about. A propagandist is not simply you take people, give you information, or you go through all of this rehearsal and then you come and just repeat them, or to give you these gossip lines and then you give them to the public. No, you're not a propagandist, because simply all you're doing is you are just providing the gossip that is provided, like leak information from government institutions. They give it to you. The information is leaked. You come and provide it to the public. You're not a propagandist. You're only the middleman for the information from all of those differences. Like people would say, I think they reference them as whistleblowers. Okay, you want to be one of the whistleblowers? No, you're not a propagandist. You're helping the whistleblowers to get the information out there. But if you are able to craft your own narrative to make a convincing case for people to buy into it, then yes, I agree. I'm one of those people who totally disagree with Fangon on a lot of his position. His mouth is too loud. I think to some extent, outside of running propaganda, that man stands no chance. He should not have to work in any government institution. I think the only reason Fagon, or the only position Fagon is capable of being much more adequate at, is serving in that role as a propagandist every election time, bringing back on so that he can actually unleash all of the informations out there for the public to convince them. Outside of that, I think he would be well suited at the African market. But with this current incident, and I close on this note, I think definitely there are politics being played in the back. Secondly, people just don't like his leadership style. And because of that reason, they are fighting, and they will fight tirelessly to get rid of him because they don't like the fight that he's there and he's trying to manage the institution the way he's managing it, especially due to the fact I personally don't even like macromanager. I don't work well with any macromanager. And so to see that he's trying to apply that logic to what he's doing, no.
LBS will
Let me just quickly provide this issue. He didn't bring he was not the one. No, I know you understand what Jeff used to on. He didn't bring up this issue about the Ben Sanvee situation. No. Ben Sanvee's story came out ever since from the other report thing. He didn't bring that out. No. He just brought that because there was some feud at the time between he and Ben, and he ran with that. No, he didn't bring it out.
So this is what I'm saying here is why it was out. It was put the public who actually made it a discussion, a national discussion point when it was actually unleashed to the public.
It was a national discussion point before I come in. He would not brag about that when there was a problem at the time when Ben Sanvee was different with standard. He brought that. It was a news.
No, that's not true. That's not true, Pewee. It came out way.
I'm not going to do it. They think out. No, it came out 2016. No, I don't want you to quote it. It came out 2016. It was in the other report. It was in the other report, and the way even he brought it out, it was not. It was since 2016.
Abu, is that your time? Shut up.
2016, 2017. So it was not that he just brought it up recently.
I did not say it was recent. I did not say it was recent.
It was out. It was wide out. He just brought that when he disagreed when Ben hit there at the time when he started with something. That time he went out and started to take out standard. He didn't bring that up.
Let me progress. LBS will not be the same. Usually, Fagon. Let's hear from Juma.
It's my turn.
Juma, let me tell you something. Please, I beg you, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Lofa.
My name is Jonah, not Juma. How are you going?
Okay, Jonah, Chief. Lofa, it was not Eugene who started that 45K stuff regarding Ben. 2017, in fact, 2017, we had a propaganda on Ben Sanvee, and that even pressured Ben Sanvee to step aside.
Oh, please, man. Your propaganda didn't even take a step from where it was. It was Eugene who literally made that.
No, that story was wow. Many years before Fagon took it. It went many years before Fagon took it. Many years.
But
go ahead.
To Abu point, when you became on that, Ben stepped aside from the chairmanship. But
many years. Fagon had that thing when he was signing was standing with us when we sent it. He didn't bring that story up. He just used that as a passing point. No, he didn't.
I was sharing with you when Fagon made that the discussion point for the election.
It was not elections. It was when Ben. It was not elections.
When Fagon brought it up.
Which are elections?
I'm telling you right now. I have videos when
which are elections?
2017.
I'm telling you. I just tell you 2017.
No, he didn't bring it 2017.
You
said it.
That's not true.
Let me progress. Let me progress.
All right, let's make progress. But I have the video when Fagon spoke of the 45K. That's where I heard about that. Go ahead.
Jonah, let's go.
So, my name is Jonah, man. That call me Juma. You come in, Juma.
We already there. Yeah, already there.
But how many people see there, refugee man? Refugee man.
Let for you, man.
If people get in trouble with me. Anyway, look, I don't know if I'm missing something because this issue about micromanaging, I don't know where it is coming from. I don't know who is making that claim about micromanagement. I think because we have such a bad work ethics in Liberia, And that doesn't mean that Liberians do not work, but we have a very bad work ethic. So when someone comes from the outside and wants to inject something new, it will always be looking foreign and will be looking strange. So people will be adamant. Look, change is very difficult. And I always tell some of my friends that sometimes you can have good ideas that you want to teach to someone, but sometimes the way in which we want to tell people to accept the changes that we want to bring, sometimes it can be so vulgar to the extent that those who are on the other side to receive those changes can be very much adamant, that they can be apprehensive. Look, if you can use the same word and say, look, and this man said, look. You use the same word, but you said it in two different ways, and it can have two, and it can move two different emotions in the same human being. So again, I don't see where, because those guys on the other side, they are not making any claim that Falcon is trying to micromanage them. What I hear them saying, like most Liberian institutions, they are talking about their benefits and their money. Everybody in all government sectors seems to be talking about having the same problem. Their benefits and their salary. You go to the legislature, their benefits and the salary. Even the other integrated group we have, why did they go back to the legislature? It's because of the same benefit. So the same thing that is happening on the other side, it is the same thing we see happening here with Fagon and these guys. Again, if I were Fagon, the best he could do would be not to have a press conference, because the press conference for me, I would really love it, because I want to see him fail. So I would really love it, because if he have that press conference, those guys will come back and hit at him. So it will be hit. At the end of the day, the president and his people will not want to see any negative, coming to their government. They will have to tell him if I can go. Is that why he won? I don't think that's why he won. So the whole press conference tomorrow is not. He should not do it, because exactly what the people on the other side, the people who are pushing these guys, they want that press conference, and he's so impatient, and he's going to give them exactly what they want tomorrow. I'll rest my case for now.
Abu.
Yeah, so I mean, what Ben said, right? I don't think I want you to have the press conference tomorrow, because having a press conference will, in my mind, will be creating room for, creating animosity among the workforce in our place, because there are people who, are supportive of his endeavors at the LBS, and there are people who believe that he shouldn't be there. I heard somebody talking about he have issue with all his deputies, or I don't know, 4 or 3 deputies. No, I think per what I recall, he had problem with the deputy for administration, one Alexandra, one female there. And there was a communication leak the other day regarding the disagreement the both of them had. So I don't think you have press conference. The best you can do is to, convene a meeting, like I said earlier, convene a meeting, listen, and listen to the workforce. What are the concerns? Because Fagon cannot unilaterally succeed down there in the workforce. In that place, if you want to succeed in a professional environment, you have the practice and cordiality. Unison matters. But you go and you think other people view does not matter. As a hair, obviously you feel. So I'm urging him to disengage on whatever intention we have regarding tomorrow press conference, because he wants to prove when, and you and I know, given the society we're in, it is gullible. Maybe he wants to, stick something in my mind contrary to what the guy said today. But I think he should do it internally instead of externally, because trust me, there are folks within our FBS are even, wanting to occupy the position already occupied. So you shouldn't venture into having press conference, but instead call for an internal meeting and yet the side of those who have who have concern. There are concerns like Jimmy though. Some of them talk about being underpaid. Some of them talk about the environment being toxic. Nobody's succeeding in a toxic environment. If you create a toxic environment, trust me, you won't succeed. I get a lot of us here are professional people. You don't work in toxic environment and succeed. You gotta, at all time exemplify leadership. That is, you the leader, be the last to act. Always listen more. So I think Fagon should not have press conference tomorrow. You should call whoever is the head of the group who had the press conference today, so that the members can be sensitized to so many things they believe that they are not satisfied with. But instead of having press conference, I don't think you're going to be doing what you said. And this president we have, the president wouldn't compromise the interest of the entire workforce for one person. So if he allow himself to be used, trust me, it's sitting having the LTE, you have to go. And the Unity Party, too much I can say it for a fact. We got more than 10 squad. As soon as you make mistake, he told you, yeah. Okay. We got more than 10 squad.
That's the job creation strategy, right?
Okay. We got men. You see, area plugging in, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, but okay, just before Robert comes, let me say this. You think with all the things that man said today, the president of Worker Junior, you think that he said all those things about somebody today, the man character was put at stake. He might go in close when I go talk about it and not happen.
No, but for me, listen.
No, but I come in. Yeah, but I watched the press conference. He said a lot of things about and Fagon now is.
Let me say something.
He go to a closed door. People, the public opinion already got it. So, but 30 seconds of Raul coming, man.
Yeah, but too many. Yeah, the public opinion about Fagon. In my mind, those who have been critics of him only change. He works, speak for himself. Fagon has been doing a lot of tremendous work.
I agree. But you said something earlier about the president. I come in now. The president was decisive, and he was. But now he would have fired the minister of state. He would have fired Mama Ability. He would have fired how to call her.
The president can't believe.
You say the president didn't care who close to him or not. But the things that people have done, we have also Robert coming, man.
Where you go, Rob?
Thank you. Thank you. But listen, a few things. I think the comment that I made initially was that this all boils down to discipline. This boils down to discipline and professionalism. When at times when you're in certain positions of authority, people throw bait at you. But things come up. You've got to strategically be able to say, do I respond to that? I don't think, again, the campaign is the campaign. And people don't make mistakes when they say, well, it's one thing to campaign and it's another thing to govern. They're two different spaces, right? The campaign is a bit too noisy, especially in Liberia, where we don't have a voting population that is focused and more concerned about the substance, right? The bread and butter issues, things that are really and truly concerning their lives, right? Quality education, decent health care, job creation in the private sector, corruption, right? They don't care about these things. They take bits and pieces of different things said by the opposition or by another opponent, and they run with it. It's almost like this noise, right, where people are basically just following that noise. When you are leading, though, it's a bit different. You no longer, for a minute, until you get back to campaign, you no longer have that kind opposition, right? It's just you now. Decision is up to you, right? Policy is up to you, right? And people will judge you based on these things, and so you've got to mentally be able to have that control when it comes to where you were a few months ago and where you are now, and how you go about dealing with certain things. I don't think Falcon has that discipline to do that, right? The LBS is an institution, yes, controlled by the government, but it's an institution with board members, right? Some of what they mentioned today blows my mind. I don't know how true it is, but when they talk about the allegation that he has increased his allowances from $700 and something dollars to $1,500, what is the possibility that he has the authority to do that without possibly being corrupt? What is that possibility? Can the Director General of LBS automatically and unilaterally change his allowances without some sort of approval of the board or approval of higher authority? What is that possibility? But when I say that I foresee Fagon being dismissed. We saw what happened when Fagon was Deputy Minister of Information under the US government. He undermined his bosses, not because Fagon had ideas greater than Eugene Lane or Nyenwolo. It was because Fagon thought that he should have been in that position Eugene was in, because he was louder than Eugene, so he assumed that he was smarter than him, right? It's because it's because he even anticipated the appointment in that position before the appointment was even made, right? Because again, I think at some point, and we keep talking about his expertise in propaganda, right? I think he overly graded himself, right, based on the small role he played from social media. Remember, Falcon was not in Liberia running campaign and going to counties here and there. He took advantage of social media and the height of social media at the time, and doing what the fix versus fiction, whatever it is that he was doing. And so the last time we talked about, did George Weah make many mistakes when it came to these different appointments based on what people did during the campaign on social media? We talked about my own friend and brother, Sam Mano, being named press secretary. I don't think that was a smart move. He did not have the requisite experience and credentials to effectively function in that role, right? Did he play a significant role in his small way in the election of George Weah, the dissemination of information, and debunking some of the lies that happened during the campaign? Of course he did. But was that enough to ensure that he was the guy for the press secretary? Because it's two different things. Now you are governing, right? And so I want to conclude by saying this. Fagon does not have that discipline. I was shocked when I heard him respond for 45 minutes to Stanton. Now, why would you do that? Strategically, it doesn't make no sense. And the reason why it doesn't make no sense is not because you don't have the right to call him a criminal. Is because we've all known him to be a criminal. But you didn't care that he was a criminal when he fed you, allegedly, when he clothed you, allegedly, right? When he housed you, allegedly, right? Up until a few months ago, right? And so it exposed his principle, it exposed his limitation, and exposed the fact that he's not a very strategic, forward-thinking guy, right? Now, when it comes to the leadership issue yet.
Right, let me get you the one so you can conclude on it also. He knew, and the time he knew the man, the time he started viewing the man, he already knew the man, already convicted. The man already charged when he knew the man. He knew that. He didn't say it, but he went there with the man. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Right, Eugene left Falcon administration information. The guy is actually legend who ran it.
No, that different thing. No,
a different thing I'm talking about. It was a different thing I'm talking about. Mr. Nyenwolo was information minister before Rennie came, and he got over. Yeah, and so let me conclude by saying all of what is happening now starts with this discipline. How do you address what's happening? You talk about the influence of Stanton. Of course, Stanton has resources, right? Even though it's ill-gutted resources, he has resources, and he's used his resources not because he's smart. The guy this man cannot even articulate himself. Listen to Stanton. He cannot articulate himself. He cannot complete a full sentence. When it comes to intellectualism, when it comes to having these in-depth conversation, Stanton cannot sit and have a 2 hours juicy intellectual-based conversation on any issue in Liberia. What has he done? He has used his resources. He has been able to recruit some decent people like Tomalin George in the beginning when he needed them, like Dr. Peabody, like Chairman Ben Sanvee. All of these guys helped build the institution that is Spoon today. It's not because of him. Would he have been able to do these things without recruiting some of these guys? Absolutely not. So he does have influence. The president knows that. Even though he's going to jail, the president, to some extent, have even added to that influence, right? All of the public figures in our country have added to that experience. If I was working government, I would never appear on Spoon on principle. I'm not against other people who's on Spoon, but I cannot sit on the platform unless he recuses himself, unless the leadership structure was turned over. Spoon may not have the issue. The leader of Spoon is the issue. And so based on principle, you cannot be sitting on the voice of a leader who is a convicted felon, and then he lectures you on other convicted felon in Liberia who has not even had that day in court. It's counterproductive. And so Fagon does not have the discipline to survive these things. If there's a press conference tomorrow, that press conference will more than likely be more defensive, combative, and it might exacerbate this whole situation than anything else, right? So if I was advising him, even though I don't want to advise him, even do I want him to have the press conference so it speeds up his dismissal because he's going to and he helps himself, right? But if I was advising him, I would fall his ear and say, hey, my brother, slow down. I don't think this press conference in your interest is actually against you because he does not emotional intelligence and that level of discipline and experience in leadership, in true leadership, it's not within him.
Robert, let me ask you a quick question, right? I'm sorry, Tomalin, I just want to get clarity. You mentioned the fact that you would not sit on Spoon. Would you reconsider if and only if Spoon were to consider the opportunity again? We have opportunity, second chance. Spoon is yet to admit and apologize or show some remorse for his participation. Now, would you reconsider that to say, okay, this is a platform, it's a national platform, I can come on and contribute to it if and only if the individual, okay, the nomenclature that this platform bears is willing to, submit to some ethical values? Will you reconsider that position and say, okay, but this man has shown no remorse, not admitted to his guilt, and had done nothing to even apologize to the public that he claims to represent? I don't want to make the conversation about Spoon, but
right.
I'm just trying to get that clear.
Look, to your question, and I've had this privately, right? I'm a Christian and I believe in redemption. People, murderers, and people, I believe each of us deserve some sort of redemption, right? But with redemption, Lofa, comes a huge responsibility of acceptance, right? Again, look, it's not about the mistakes you made. It's about having a self-reflection, right? And attempting, especially given the circumstances, and attempting to say, you know what, I've made some mistakes here, and in doing so, at the time, I wasn't thinking properly, right? I was selfish, right? And I was selfish in the sense that I endanger lives because those health workers whom I sold fake degrees to, they went out there. They could have possibly endangered lives because they did not have the requisite training and credentials to render the kind of health services that is required. If Stanton were to recuse himself and allow the operation of Spoon to continue at the time he was in court, I would have respected him for that. Had he come out and publicly apologized to the American people who have given him massive opportunity and to the court, he probably did that in court. But had he come out publicly and said, you know what, I made some mistakes. I think God has given me a second chance because it's 3.5 years in prison. It's a second chance. People have gone away for many more years. Had he done that? Absolutely. I would have said, you know what? This man has shown remorse. He has apologized, but most importantly, he has taken responsibility for his own action. I will appear on Spoon to have these discussions. What he's done the total opposite. He has been very arrogant about it, right? He has continued to boast about feeding and clothing and people with ill-gotten money, right? And that's made him a convicted felon. He presents this persona as if he worked hard and he's a rich man and he's worked hard for his money and he's used this money. I mean, I believe in hard work. I believe in hard work and dignity. So for men who have done what he did, and he has not taken responsibility, and he has continued to represent a voice of moral. For me, that's worrisome. And for that reason, I cannot. But if he remove himself from the station, if the station is still Spoon TV, he removed himself from the station and is being ran by reputable, credible people, I will have no issue appearing. But I cannot appear on Spoon under the leadership and the voice of a criminal, talking and criticizing other criminals in Liberia. It's just counterproductive. It doesn't make no sense. It's oxymoron. It doesn't make no sense whatsoever.
Fair.
Okay, so look, back to the Fagon issue, right? Fagon, like I said, I think it's in his interest to have his press conference tomorrow because the workers' union president came after him very strong with a lot of allegations on him in the public. And I think it would have been the best thing for them to have ironed their stuff out in-house before they come to the public. But with such a major press conference and with the kind of person he is too, I think it's in his interest to respond tomorrow, I think. But it will come back to the president. I don't know how to resolve it.
So is he ready having a press conference?
Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah. Having at 2 o'clock. But now, here's the thing. That's why. Okay, here's the thing, right? As I was saying, if the workers' president, if he has the support of the workers, because when I watched the press conference today, I didn't see much workers there. But here's the thing now: if the workers' president have the support of the workers behind him, then Fagon should be a little worried. But if the president do not have that support, then it's like Fagon will be because mind you now, if he's the boss, and now if he goes to more press conference and it proves that the workers don't have the president don't have the support of the workers behind him, if they leave the president in the cold, then the president just take a gamble because if he has the support, if the workers go on strike, then the president action can be taken because the entire workforce saying majority are saying they're not working. You cannot fire 80 or 70% of the workforce. Then Fagon is in trouble. But if tomorrow is proving that Fagon is in charge and the workers still enjoy the confidence of the workers, that's a different ball game. And I would say too, Fagon, I would say he was very instrumental in this government getting elected. He was a mouthpiece. He was all over the place making a case for them. He went after the CDC strong, and with the CDC at the time, that's why I was telling my CDC colleague, I said, look, you guys don't have nobody to counter for Fagon because come away, there's nobody there to say, well, we'll respond to you, and that's what the problem they had to. So, and Fagon, and because of that, you see the president, the guy in there enjoys the confidence of the president. He's still, and the president, Fagon answers the president. But let's see what happens tomorrow.
Let me ask you a question. Before I speak. Let me ask the question. Fagon and PYJ, who fought more than a friend? Just a back could put PYJ in the frustrating the game today. That Fagon, he won't get rid of. Man, look.
Ben, look, I tell you the truth, right? If that was the case, people across on these are being fired. Fagon will not fire by Fagon. Let me tell you something. If Fagon enjoys the workers' confidence, yeah, but I'm telling you now, he did well for them. He's a lot talk. Fagon can talk. He's gifted. Look, he may like somebody, but because he can talk, he's very good at talking.
Exactly.
propaganda.
Exactly.
Let me
That's
say
the
my own.
problem. Advantage, yeah. So if I gonna did it
Let
for
me say
them,
my own.
if I gonna,
I'm done at all, right?
I'm talking now.
No,
You want
I'm
my
talking.
time?
I'm a turn.
Yeah. If I gonna win
Then
also,
I had time. I Pewee time.
utilize food in election campaign, and they imagine all the guys were going there. You're making the case. You saw what they did. Went after the former president, went after the CC government, and he said things that so many people questioned it, but nobody was there to counter it. So some people fell for it, and it went with it. So that's one of the problems, one of the issues.
Tony, I will be very short.
Let me
I
finish
will
now,
tell
brother.
you this. Okay, finish. Sorry.
Yeah, so he made a case for them to be elected. Got elected. It took some time. The president found appointed in the LBS. Okay, if I can for your information ministry, but then when they appointed Gerald Limerick, if I going to try to go to LBS, he took it. And honestly,
They will never have getting information.
Honestly, at the time, honestly, right? For what he's doing at LBS, people will tell you from what I learned from people that went to visit LBS, it says a transformation. Lastly, the thing I told yesterday, I said I won't get involved in this. What's happening? I can't get involved in what's happening all around. But you know why? When you old enough, you learn a lot. You see today,
Right.
I will be honest with you. I see most of the CDC boys are running to CDC spoon right now, right? And because they feel that Stanton now going after the government, so they're running there. But mind you, as if the many bloggers and UP start paying attention to Stanton, then it will change and it will come back. They'll start attacking you again. So you won't get involved because you there's somebody said earlier, they were all there before the attack was taking place. Now they're back now. You see them going back. I have a problem with them, but the idea is that you smart enough, you will know that man, come on, man. You're that team, man. I got what you talking about. Get man more credit. The man what presenting them much. They're talking. Propaganda that primary election. So one problem is looking at right now, right? These guys.
You think propaganda won that election? Propaganda didn't win no
Propaganda won election. Come on.
Election?
Propaganda won election.
Election was won. It was not won propaganda basis.
Propaganda, brother. That was lies.
Wait, no, I just want to go by 1 minute.
That election was won on tribal lines.
No,
it was won on that
basis. You told me propaganda won election. They came up. I was in like, bro, you were there. They were saying, you how much now pay, how much now your vote. That propaganda there. Propaganda was there. And
we didn't see that in the vote.
Ben, let's do one at a time.
Go ahead.
No, the counter what propaganda was saying. You could have found out that what happened after the election, and then saw the ball came on the platform here. What they call him, Del Francis. When he laid out the harmonization process, everybody said, "Well, why you guys didn't say there's no election?" It was simple propaganda. Honestly, they
didn't win that election. No, he didn't win that election.
They came up with. Honestly, was saying, "Oh,
who won the election? Who won the election? I didn't win the election."
I mean, man, Abu, to say Garguah killed people with no evidence. Oh, he killed auditors. No evidence or show anything. He came with the lies. Garguah killed people. Garguah did this one. Garguah was doing one. And they couldn't the complete lies and propaganda. We saw it. And lastly, they said, oh, CDC took money. And since they took power, what they said in the election, they said, when we take power, we'll make sure we audit them. We'll go after them one by one. We'll bring them the book. It's been almost going to 2 years now. What happened? They can't. Come on, brother. Come on. It was lies and propaganda that won.
Can we come in now?
Yeah, but come in. Let me learn now. As a result, because of that, he saw what happened. And since they took power, they are not able to. Each time they post it, when they ask them, they say, CDC did the same too. And you say, oh, CDC did it too. How to be running the country. And you know that. Gotta be honest with you. Okay? If CDC has somebody to counter Fagon there, they would have been a tough fight, but no matter what they were counter.
Those things was counter. There were people countering them. It was counter Tomalin. And let me say to you, the election was never won. If it was propaganda won that elections, you would have seen the numbers. The only error, and I said this so you understand by it. The only way, the reason why Mr. Weah didn't win the election, or we didn't manage Prince Johnson's alliance.
That's
at the point. It was based on Prince Johnson as a human being. The late Prince Johnson won the election for Buakai. It was no propaganda.
1 minute.
I ended up being Prince Johnson. Despite everything they said about Weah, you saw the numbers. It was propaganda. You will have seen. They agree what you just said just now. I'm coming. No, you said some things. Yeah. They agree what you said just now. If I were going to march back, it would have affected Weah significantly. In the whole country, you won the president was little over 20,000 votes. If it were propaganda, it would have been more deeper than that because the propaganda will come and will go against you 100%. Everything will go against you. But the numbers, Prince Johnson's support to Mr. Boakai won him the elections.
I'll dispute that.
Boakai got Prince Johnson's support to Boakai won the election. No one will say anything about that. Prince Johnson single-handedly gave Boakai the presidency.
Okay, let me dispute that, Pewee.
Let me say propaganda.
Right? Pewee, we're in Liberia, gentlemen. Listen carefully. Lofa, you're listening. The first round, right? Do you know how CDC lost elections the second round? Because 2 districts flipped. I'm being McCanty. If we are 1-2 district in Monserrado, see we are the president today. 2 districts flipped. District that won first round, it flipped in the runoff.
Which are the district flip? Which are the district flip?
District flip. Okay, but CDC I 1-2 district. And you know what the district were mostly majority were from the Akko people.
But no. That's not the point. But no, Liberia elections in Liberia.
Oh.
The ruling establishment have never done well in Monserrado County.
Monserrado.
Because one of the issues here is the major situation that is unfolding in the country. It is that part of the metropolitan area that feed the trench of those things. So there's no ruling party in recent elections in Liberia that have ever won Monserrado. Now, CDC won Monserrado throughout when she was in the opposition. And that's the reason why they were giving Unity Party a tough time. The 2 successive elections. So the 2 things flipping. That is the crumbs of the politics.
You didn't win the 2 districts.
Nimba won the election for Boakai. If Nimba have gone, we are sad. We are won.
We are win, but guess what I'm trying to say to that? To the run off, the 2 districts.
For all propaganda together, pretty much supported we are.
It's true. It would have been a factor, but I'm trying to tell you that to show how we are strong and we're competitive.
That's the propaganda. It didn't work. It didn't suffice.
The district that felt run off to UP that they didn't win first round and they won it. That was getting the election.
Look here, Boakai won Mr. Weah in Nimba County by a little over 100,000 votes.
Yeah, but we are competitive in Nimba.
That's what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Even if you're competitive in Nimba, they won him by around 100,000. So imagine Prince Johnson supported Mr. Weah. That's why we're saying, listen, let's give it to him. He's going to be out of it. But he won the election single-handedly for Boakai. That alone play a role in Boakai winning the elections. And listen, I don't have problem with what whosoever have done before in the country and the rest of that. And Robert was trying to state 1 or 2 things in this place, and that's probably his problem. It's not a good. He was very good at propaganda. He would have done very well. And I think we try to mismatch the whole process. He would have done well. We all involved in different propagandistic activities and the rest of that. But if you're going there, he wouldn't put a good propagandist is an element that manages information dissemination also. That would not always hit him off. He was suspended the first time on Weah, not because of Weah needed to do that at the time, but Weah coerced to suspend him from the U.S. government. The statement came from the
and
US
he got himself
rising. He's divisive, and he's trying to promote chaos in the country, right? So that was one. He's just suspended. Eventually, he was in the same government. Who the great propagandists that would be in the propagandistic warfare and then launch propaganda on your own administration? You start attacking the government. You start talking about the actors. He took the shot and he getting sick. He start talking about the Boston about chemical in the country. Who does that?
Yeah, but
we had no option. We are dismissed. Listen, before I end, back to the Eugene Nangbe and Eugene Fagon situation. Eugene Nangbe, listen to me. He's one of the best propagandists Liberia got. He's a very good communication specialist. He knows how to communicate, and he writes very well. No way you can have Fagon and Eugene Nangbe somewhere. He thought, my brother was there, right? He thought he should have been the minister honor of Eugene Nangbe. And there's a man when it comes to structuring good, when the case of issue of writing, that don't see him very unassuming, Mr. Nangbe. A very intelligent man, but he's an intelligent professional by excellence. In terms of that, you match with that kind of man, then you still have problem with him, and let the Eugene left. How to call it? Let you really came here again. It was this way and the rest of that. No, listen, I don't have no issue with him, but he just have to manage his relation in terms of how he want to do things and how he want to get out, particularly particularly with those that are far qualified than you and smart than you think you are. So that's the problem. If you deal with people that are knowledgeable, very good in for all aspects, and you come and say you think you want to say this by being loud doesn't change.
But I would tell Lofa, I would even tell Lofa over Juju Baba any day.
So let me say something. So let me say something, right?
That's not even his area. But I would tell Lofa over
Pewee, I'm not a propagandist, so that you'll be that decision maker.
You are measured to a certain extent. He's not.
Right, but here's
discipline. He's not.
Here's my thing, right?
You saw now how they got Lofa, 1 minute before you can go quickly. You saw how
it's my time.
You saw how Stanton deal with him, right? Stanton say, my children, I can take care and I feed you, I do this. You know? Listen, Stanton is not a propagandist, right? But he's dealing with a purported propagandist. That's the kind of thing. You see what I mean?
Falcons are gifted for propagandists.
That's what you see about not propagandists. Not propagandists now winning the war on him.
But
Sometimes winning it. He winning it.
Let me just
when you
correct.
gotta do, come on, Lofa, 1 minute, please. When did he know that Stanton is a criminal?
Okay, yeah.
Ever since he knew when you guys left the show, when Spago knew that now he got to know that.
You can Tomalin, you have it right now.
Listen,
you have it right before the man criminal.
He on this one, and Stanton will bury him on this one. Stanton is dealing with him on it.
Okay.
And I like how
if you're gonna stay there and you can't show.
I like how Stanton dealing with him. Stanton is dealing with him. I think Stanton is always smart, man. I respect him for that. He dealing with him. When you going to that? Lofa, sorry, man. Nephew, sorry, nephew. Go ahead.
That's okay.
Lofa disagree with you, Pewee.
Lofa disagree with me.
That's why he called me. That's why he called me nephew right away.
So I call him nephew to stop to him. Say he will disagree with me. So go ahead.
But it's my time to speak now.
I mean, you waste more.
Ben, go ahead.
Ben, ask me the glass of
Go ahead, Ben.
I guess the glass of
Go ahead, Ben.
Let
Ben go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, no, basically, all I was really going to say here is simple. You mentioned the fact that Fangon got fired because of the message that he brought. That is exactly what proved my point when we speak of being a propagandist. The president realized, let me make the point here. The president realized that the person this information is coming from could actually set the public against my administration. And with that said, he said, I will let you go. Now, did he utilize his ability to propagate message adequately? No. In that situation, I think he went against himself. But if you are to look at his records, all right, his contribution, he had been in the position to provide more convincing case. And when Tomalin made the case that this election, all right, Boycott won this election based on propaganda from start to end. You cannot take that away and claim that Prince Johnson made it. The reason why it is true that the propaganda won this election, it started from the day June 7 was held. The protest in itself set the tone for the people to feel like the government in itself was not performing. And when the people believe the government is not performing, that is a message, a resounding message that is against the state. So that set them on a step ahead. And then it was just added a point. The issue of the rice shortage, it added to that, even though there was rice in the country. But guess what? The propagandists took that and ran with it. It made the people to believe that President Weah was doing nothing to address the situation. The propagandists, again, added to the fact that, look, they made it appear as though the country was unsafe. So with all of these things put together, you cannot say this election was won just because Prince Johnson handed the election to President Weah. No, I totally agree. Propaganda pushed this entire decision, and the people heavily took that to the booth.
All right. Here's what I would say. There is not an election in the world that does not have propaganda in it. Every election has it. But to say that propaganda won this election is a lie because the numbers don't say it. The numbers don't say it. Again, every election in the world has propaganda in it. But for such a minute number, for you to associate it to propaganda, it does not add up. It doesn't add up at all. If Prince Johnson had not handpicked, if he had not done what, and the ballots talking, we know you see people yelling, people finding ballots all over the place. And by the way, the numbers George Weah had in Lofa and Nimba, they were astronomical, high numbers that he never had anywhere in 2017. The Weah numbers that he had in 2023 were higher than the numbers that he had when he won the election. So again, this was not propaganda. It was just Prince Johnson doing his magic. Remove Prince Johnson magic. This thing we're talking about here that George Weah has the second term, we're talking here.
So let me add to that, right? I think I understand the argument Ben is making, but let's think about it this way too. Let me reiterate that. Don't forget that former President George Weah won the first round.
Thank you.
Okay, former President George Weah won the first round. Sylvester, I want you to listen to this. Former President George Weah won the first round. The question I want to ask is, was Fargon on board then? Was he on board then? He was on board.
Yeah, he was on board.
No, you muted, Sylvester. You muted. The recent election when George Weah won the first round,
he was with the Garguah team.
He was on the other side.
Yeah, he was on the other side.
He was on the other side. And so I do concur, though. It's a bit difficult to conclude that propaganda won the election. If that was the case, then the election based on propaganda would have been won against George Weah in the first round. And
round one.
Exactly. That's one. Two.
And I agree with you on that.
Two, I think I have a different thought process on this. A lot of things help Joseph Boakai. Because even with the support of Prince Johnson, the Prince Johnson support did not come in the runoff. The Prince Johnson support came from the genesis of the election in 2023. Mm-hmm. And even with Nimba being at play, even though there were more candidates, but we all knew the top three candidates, right? George Weah still won the first round, even with the Prince Johnson support.
By 5,000 votes.
By 5,000 votes. That's a pretty good number. Yeah. Even with the Prince Johnson support and with the loudmouth Fargon on Spoon. With the loudmouth Fargon on Spoon, right? He still won that vote. I think CDC inability to not have gotten so reluctant on the information dissemination and truly staying on message, investing. They had the resources. They just didn't spend the money when it was supposed to be spent and where it was supposed to be spent because they thought that they had already won the election, right? But I think the person who played a significant role in bringing some level of structure that ultimately won the election or play a part in winning the election with such a small margin, I think we don't often say it. I think that Amar Conan had much more of an impact than Fargon because when Amar Conan endorsed Joseph Boakai in the second round, Fargon was a no voice. He truly brought structure, and the minute that endorsement came through, because initially I thought he would have just not picked no side. The minute that endorsement came through in the runoff, I told some of my CDC good friends that they needed to up that game when it came to information, because he brought that structure to the Unity Party, the war room structure they did not have throughout the campaign, the messaging. You saw they purposely had him on radio, Spoon, talking about these issues. And Amarcon is not a loud mouth speaking kind of guy like Fargon. This is the reason why I continue to say that certain people in certain things perform better in that space. Fagon is not a guy who's thrived in a professional setting. I mean, the man have never had a good job in this United States, Tomalin George. I mean, what is his record when it comes to working in this America?
He was a CEO of African market. He was a CEO of African market.
Okay, yeah, you're the CEO of African markets. That's about it. But African market, can you imagine being the CEO of African market with 4 AAA degrees and then being the director general of LBS? I mean, that's a huge promotion. That's a big jump. So again, I think just how President we have made a mistake by rewarding Fagon. He would have never gotten information minister role. I know that for a fact, and they would never give him information minister role in his administration. These Unity Party boys will not let that happen. There's a reason why they sent him to LBS, but he has managed to use as LBS as a de facto information ministry. When you listen to the man speak, it's clear that he misses his actual role, which is information. This is where he wants to be. He doesn't want to be the LBS. And so when we talk about Fagon and his impact, I, for one, if I had to put my money on it, would not put my money on me winning an election or me having an effective government with that kind of unhinged person in my government. You need discipline. And this is why I say you may not like Henry Costa, but you cannot, under absolutely no circumstances, compare voices like Henry Costa to both Stanton and Fagon. These people don't even pair in comparison. Henry Costa is more eloquent. He understands the language. He understands journalism to a certain extent because he's been on the radio. He understands messaging. We may all not agree with sometimes his emotions and how he addressed certain things emotionally, but when it comes to the radio, when it comes to public perception, persuasion,
he's a good presenter. He's a good presenter.
He knows how to do it, and he knows how to get the audience out there. I will beg a Henry Costa, outside of social media, outside of journalism, over a loud mouth, inexperienced, uneducated. This is the only man who got 4 AA degree. Why waste time to get 4 AA degree when you could have just got a bachelor's degree?
Yeah, but let me come in. Look, on a serious note, everybody has their gift. And I'll tell you that. I'll repeat.
But Tomalin, what is his gift? To be loud?
Fagon gift is a public. Fagon can defend and make a case for people. He can make a case. Okay.
Yeah, but CDC inability to debunk these lies does not make him great. They just did not respond adequately. Tomalin, do you think? One second? I'll give 30 seconds. Do you think that the opposition under particularly CDC right now? Do you think that they have given this government more passes than this government gave them during we have first term? Hell yeah, they have.
Of course, but now
they have. But that made Unity Party better than them? No, they just have not done what they're supposed to do.
I can tell you this now. If I go on the other side right now, you think you people will be having any passes? No, he'll be on the social media, on the radio, making noise. Okay, everybody got a gift, right? Costa can sell. He can sell people. Like he can make you like you saw what Costa did for Bwaka. Okay, he made Bwaka to look almost like a saint, right? He sold the Liberian people, and he saw what he did in Mr. Comics, right? You saw what happened in the CPP thing, right? You saw it. I gave that. He sold Bwaka to the Liberian people, and he denigrated Mr. Comics, right? And you saw it. He did it effectively. Fagon is the one who he can say, okay, if you're attacking us, we'll come to counter punch. He will come to counter punch with all kinds of stuff. Whether that lie or politics is a nasty game. For Ghana, you come with it, right? He did it 2017 with CDC won. He was on the CDC side. So if I'm going to tell you, he said, well, I will be on the winning side. He said, on CDC side 2017, I won. On UP 2023 with UP, I won. So he could say that. So the problem is, everybody got, as I said, get their own gift and operate differently. So with him, he knows how to talk and make white turn to black. That kind of thing. If that lie, if they think that lie, he will say make it when he finish defending that stuff. As an issue there. And Pewee, that you talking about say Don't. Are you not trying to say come on, don't do that thing, man. Don't do that thing. Yeah, don't do that thing. I must say.
But now, how you pay? Come in 1 minute. 2 minutes. I know. This evening you in for Fagon. You almost said my.
No, I forgot about it. I just
let me say this to you.
Okay.
Let me say that we are in the business of doing these things, right?
Oh,
we are in the business of the whole propaganda activity. So when the war is on, we observe who is skinning the point. You see him going away, You see, starting not talking to me. He took more time talking. So I want to say, oh, that's not it. But the reason that is, and that's the magic stick of the process here. If you want to go after someone, and the person seems to come back for you in a more limited time, but that would cause sufficient punches to you whatsoever. Listen, there was no debate here to come out and call that man criminal. The only thing you have to say now is calling the man criminal. When did you know that the man's a criminal?
No, I got a problem with that one. I got a problem with him.
When did you know he was a criminal?
I have a problem.
I come in 1 minute when the man
started. We're talking about it. We're talking to it. But Pewee,
let him call. I'll put the number up so they can call.
When other people even left the man, that's the time you selected or you chose to engage. Then you now come out. Then you have the temerity to call the man criminal.
We got a call on the line, guys. We got our first caller.
Well, call up, Chief.
Caller, go ahead. Call it. Your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you. Bro, go ahead. Just make a point, man.
Guys, thank you very much for the show. I've been following the show from the beginning. This is great. I love this. But let me just say a few things. I think you guys are giving too much credit to this Eugene guy that, he doesn't really, I don't think he warrants those credits, I don't really know all these achievements you guys talking about. I saw that pink in LBS red, white, and blue, which is something I personally don't like. Because you're in Labrador, don't mean everything has to be red, white, and blue. I know he moved few couches and he brought drones to be flying over people in Moravia. I don't know what's the significance, but that's not my main point. Benjamin struck a great point. And you guys, I know my brother say, he visits the president. Waka doesn't care. Costa used to base Waka. Not base. I'm just saying, not base. But Costa know how much Costa was close to that puppet. And one thing, that guy, Eugene Fagon, you have to understand the difference between he and Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson gave Waka a whole county. Name a county in the United States, we call it battleground state. Those swing states. Those are states that can move the election.
Pennsylvania,
If John Wheeler had won Nima County, forget it. Nima County was primary in the whole thing. It was pivotal. And look how Prince Johnson direct. We listen to the recording regarding Prince Johnson, daughter could not even get a job. That's how much, let me tell you. So there's this whole idea that Fagon, look, what that student, what the union guys, whatever the workers' union wants to start putting more pressure and using Fagon. I know he's very unpredictable, he's very chaotic. He start firing people that will be civil unrest. Joseph Waka don't want that unnecessary attention. What he will do, he will let Fagon go. Watch and see. That's what will happen. Now, my second point, Fagon is that, brother, I grew up in the town of LBS at the time they had Galacaswa, Yamito, Fnico, Wifor, Destino, Gating, all those scripts. Those were, look, Eugene Fagon does not fit the profile of any of these people. LBS back in the day was a quiet entity. Look at the reckless statement he made the last time. Said, you're dividing something he said about the budget. Oh, you're not informing LBS for tomorrow. Just because you call me Moppy does not mean you should just be all over the place, guys. The guy does not fit the profile of an LBS Director General. All these achievements you're talking about, I'm yet to see anything tangible. And once he starts doing having press release or press conference, he will open himself to more problems. So let's not be fooled. Waka ain't got time for all that. The Papa want his government, he want his legacy to live on. He's not going to allow CDC Eugene to come and destroy it. So you guys, thank you very much. I'll be following the show.
Thank you, Paul. Let's take the next caller here. 780-5212. Caller, let's hear from you. Your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
Go ahead, caller. Your name and where you calling from? Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm Kehleboe. from Canada. I'm following the show from Canada.
Go ahead, boss man.
Yeah. I just want to play in my contribution after the conversation. I heard Sylvester Pewee, who is my own nephew by tradition, saying that it was tradition that won the election. I mean, we always in Liberia, it was totally wrong. I think what Tomalin is saying is right. Remember, Prince Johnson supported JND, but the CDC won the first one. So it means that CDC got sufficient votes from Lofa and even to send from Nimba County. But where CDC fell short, when the propaganda was then spilled out, there were no strong mechanism to counter what the Unity Party propagandists were saying. That's why you saw round 2 when ACO turned over to the endorsed the Unity Party, the 10th district number 3 and district number 4 of most radical that are predominantly Islamic groups. That's how you saw the likes of Amara Conan, and when they emerged, the Unity Party got out win. So it was not about trouble, but it was strictly.
That's a second round politics. People can cross over. That resolve that. That's all.
What we talk about Fagon. You see, there are some people, my brother, they just have like whether they got 4 AAs, they are just crafted in certain acts. How can we believe that after 2027, the still 4 AA men, President Myean making deputy minister? So by extent, if he even go to LBS now, from that time he might have gotten some experience as compared to the time President Myean making deputy minister, coming from the African market to being deputy minister. So if I even getting more credential to even or experience to even go now as director general. So politics, like we are just saying, it has its own flips and flops. If you are in it, you get your chance, you flow up. But we all, one way or the other, we got our strengths and our weaknesses. So thank you very much, guys, for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Thank
you.
Thank you. So, guys, I know people are asking about the WhatsApp. If you the WhatsApp number is the same as the number that comes to the regular line. Yeah, we have a split service. It's going to both ends, but use the WhatsApp. But if somebody
we introduce another topic and move to that topic, man. Start that wasting time on one thing. It's not benefiting the show at all.
All right, let's take this caller. We have another caller here. Caller, go ahead. Your name and where you calling from? Caller, please lower your monitor. Go ahead. Your name and where you calling from? Oh God. Stop listening to the monitor. Now you go. All right, guys, let's go ahead. I'm not gonna. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm saying. Is it another topic we have the LBS? And if I go.
Well, no, I mean, the moderator has.
We took almost an hour plus.
Yeah, but let's move on. Y'all bringing your different.
You are emphasizing your thing. We're trying to correct it.
So y'all bringing so yeah.
And the reason why the last call, the reason why those era flip was a second round politics. People would join. And these are people not on a bit of propaganda. People taking side for job seeking. That was a result. People taking side for job seeking. And you're right.
Okay, Pewee, this is part of the reason why you're on the platform, to make the convincing case that what we are claiming is inaccurate. So convince us.
And that's what I just said. That's what I said.
But when you say, is this a winner topic? Then you have not done your job. That's what I'm just saying.
No. I'm concluding on this, so we spend some time on that. Now, the reason why the second round elections came, the district we talk about, too many talk about 2 districts. Now, and it's right. He said Islamic, particularly Islamic. I agree with that, but predominantly Mandingos in that Eastern district number 2, moving forward to 11, 12, all those areas. And when ACO endorsed Mr. Boakai, imagine all of those votes came over also. So it was done on and that's why I say it's going to be done on both traditional tribal and all those lines.
Let me also say that. So
traditional tribal and all those lines. So it was not one on that basis of propaganda, but one on the basis of interest, job seeking, and other traditional and regional purposes also.
So now the first round CDC won, and Amar was not active during the first round. When he won the Hakam, also don't forget now, it was through his lineage Also, and he coming joining the group to help flip those two districts. And Akko people were listening to him too. So don't forget. And I'll say that had CDC
But I just said it, the same.
Yeah,
that's the reason why that district flipped.
So guess what? CDC would have won the two districts. I mean, winning Nima. I was trying to tell you. Yes.
But that's part of the reason why I say it's not propaganda now. It is interest based. It is regional based.
Okay.
Right. So Akko and Akko and that of the leader when Akko went through, the Muslim votes went also to Akko.
All happened in the election.
Guys, I got a caller on the line here. Can I take the call real quick? Caller, go ahead. Your name and where you calling from?
Put on our next topic after this guy.
Okay. After this guy, I will shut the phone lines off. Go ahead. Caller, your name and where you calling from? Go ahead, sir. Oh, man.
Okay. My name is Linford Guar. I'm calling from Norway.
Okay. Welcome to the show, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the quality of the voice because I'm down with Guar and December is just past 2 o'clock in the morning here.
Oh, wow.
Listen,
what is time?
I'm a
2 a.m.
former Liberian journalist, and I worked at ELBC 2 years before the war. And I know what the LBS used to be. In fact, as a matter of fact, I was trained by the RRR and USAID. We had project Liberia Rural Communications Network, ARCS, incorporated under the LBC. And I know what that institution used to be. It was very respectable. And at the time, it was the late Haji GZ Krumba, who was ELBC or LBS Director General. And we had dignity at that place. And to have a Fangon who is there and engaging in a battle with people he shouldn't even in the first place be engaging, I think it's disturbing. But it all goes down to saying that in the absence of the capable, the available will be capable. And that's what's happening right now. You see, because for you to be Director General of LBS, the state-owned media institution, you should have some, professional ethics that you follow. You shouldn't be sitting there and engaging people and even threatening people to be dismissed because of their views and stuff like that. I know how wicked Haji Krumba used to be, but he worked as a professional. So I think the appointment of people at Fangon then, it was political, and what it did was, or what they are doing now is to bring disgrace to the institution, and that's what ELPC is today. So thanks for the show. And
before you hang up the line, can I just pick your brain here for a second? If you were appointed as the DG of that particular agency,
what is his name?
I didn't get the name. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. Can you state your name again, please? Tomalin's asking about your name. Linford.
Linford, Garguah. I think if Tomalin grew up in Habel during the war time, or if he lived in Habel during the war time, you should know this name. Or I worked at the station in Habel during the war time, and then when we came back to Monrovia, I worked at Kiss FM. So a lot of people will know this name.
Linford. Right. So my question to you, though, I just want to know, because I think we are speaking of competence, and you alluded to the fact that prior to Fangon, there were permanent and competent people who served in that position and at that agency. If you were appointed, let's just say hypothetically, if you were appointed to that position as a DG, what would be 3 cardinal functions or areas that you will address in order to put you on good footing to address other issues within that agency? 3, just 3 of them that you think is lacking today under Fangon's leadership.
Okay. In the first place, I'm not doing just following what's happening at LBS, but I'll just talk from my experience. What I think should be done at LBS. Number one, we should know that LBS is state-owned media entity.
Yep.
And being a state-owned media entity, it should be open to the public. And I followed some events during the election, the past 2 elections, 2017 and 2023. And I followed that LBS was not being utilized fully by the rest of the political parties. It was more or less leaning towards the government, which is wrong, because that's state-owned entity. Okay. in as much as they should propagate government's interest. I think the rest of the political parties in the country should have access as well. Okay, so I will improve the system where, you know, the media, the state entity will be used by the people. It will belong to them. The people will feel that belongingness. Okay, and two, I will also institute, you know, structural reform. Like I said again, I've not been to Liberia in fact, I've been to Liberia 1999, and then I've not been to ELPC to know. But what I know is to be from that. So we had a system in our place to the point where directors, departmental heads had power. Okay, because I remember one meeting we had, and Mr. Kruma told all department heads, every time you go to your department and then you want your people to do certain things, and you telling them, Mr. Kruma say, you should do this, it means I rather want to. So then he empowered me, the worker. He said, instead of your department head comes to me and says, Mr. Kruma says you should do this, come and report to me. I will call him money because it means that I am doing his work. And from that particular meeting, you could see everybody working functionally. All departments were working functionally. Okay, so I will institute departmental structure, you know, in a way that everybody will work. Even the workers will know that they have something to do instead of people just, you know, taking a place to be some. You know, I see a picture of Franco sending me a EFCC for Navy. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So that is unethical. So I will institute structural reform within the system. Then the third thing I will do is to make sure that I empower the workers, especially the reporters. My kids are ELPS, we have Google program, we have people, the late Chester Guar, okay? He has, and that newspaper was instituted by one of the guys before him, okay? And even me, who worked at LPS, I was the least in not LPS, but in NRC, I was the least because I just started as a corporate reporter at that time, okay? We have a system that even when I'm going out, I go certain time, and I have to come back at certain time, and I should bring program, and my program should be heard. But nowadays, you know, people, I don't understand. I really don't understand.
Okay.
So those are the three things I will do. Those are the three things. First, I will start with.
Thank you.
Make sure that you empower the department heads and institute structural reform, and then make sure that all reporters, all workers, even the janitor is well supported, and that their work can be done functionally and properly.
Thank you. Tomalin, you go ahead, take it.
Yes, guys, let's talk about this guy, Etheridge. We got reports that this guy who have been accused of, they say he was accused of burning the Capitol building, Etheridge. The Joint Security called his lawyer last night in the middle of the night to release him and so forth. But this guy he's being accused of committing arson, and so the others are saying that he's been tortured to implicate others people. Others in this in that arson case and so forth. So want to hear from you guys. Like, people want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts, your perspectives, or your thoughts about what's happening with this case? You think this guy is truthful? You think he's really been tortured and to lie on people? Yes. People want to hear from you guys. So let's hear from Pewee. Pewee, what do you think about this guy, Etheridge? Etheridge, they're accusing this guy of burning the place down and so forth. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think for now, I hate to jump to a conclusion on this one. I will wait him to, because I don't know him. Because let's say if this going to be about Tomalin Josh, I would say yes, I know him. I can vouch for him. I know that they're trying to, but so I don't know this fellow, Etheridge, or whatsoever his correct name may be. But what I do know is that there's this alleged issue that he may have set ablaze the home of our lawmaking process. If this is true, basically, we have to investigate, and there should be some facts to exhibit this, so that we prove this to the people of our country that yes, this man, because it would be very dangerous for us to tread the path of accusing folks or trying to name folks in some level of situation that they may not have been part of. So I think to just run to conclusion, we first and foremost have to wait for the report. But where I was a little skeptical that there was some sinister things, motive behind this process, my own skepticism came from the backdrop of the level of how the police chief prejudiced the case. The president himself did. What he did was not right, because if you, the leader of a country, came out and said something, it just the tendency of follow the leader, other individual that are subordinate to you as the leader of the country will want to go with the mindset of trying to satisfy the quest or your initial justification or what you align on. So when the president aligned that, they in a very, very much furious manner, and I think the police chief did follow, and the Minister of Justice listened, and he was also pushed to push the police chiefs to do this kind of a thing. So it will be difficult to prove these things without scientific investigation, without or what we call evidence-based facts, because we need evidence-based facts to justify why we're trying to link someone to this as some issue. If there's no evidence-based fact and you're trying to do it on the basis of sentiments or hearsay without anything to link the guy. Now, and I decried the last time on this show that we do not have any major surveillance mechanism in the country that would have helped the police significantly, but we don't have that. The entire Capitol building infrastructure, there's nothing there to keep surveillance on that institution, despite at the time there was alarming, some growing tension. The situation there was more of a very fluid, very delicate fluid, and due to the fluidity of the situation at the time, I thought we should have set some a surveillance-based process there, but we didn't do it, and now we're trying to push this issue now. So to prove that this Edris Federal is engaged or involved into this alleged act, it will have to come from a significantly deep evidence-based process, and something I believe up to now, because he's been arrested more than 48, 72 hours now since this process happened, saying he's been on some level of interrogation. Now, at what level the interrogation process is going to last? Are we going to engage in the interrogation for quite a long time? Because as per the law, I hope his lawyer won't be invoking what they will call the bill of habeas corpus, because you cannot keep him for quite a long time. And that bill is introduced in court, you have to produce his living body. So I will believe, moving on, is that we now challenge the police and the government or the Ministry of Justice to come and say something. If this guy is indeed involved and you know you can justify you got a case, he's culpable, you can go beyond and prove beyond all reasonable doubt that he's engaged. Now go after him, charge him appropriately. If you know he got some accomplice, all of those that are involved in this matter, join the charge then and move to court. But this, you will have set a very wonderful precedent. But all the things that are happening is this kind of a mere tactical, how to call it, smelling and other things, and trying to deploy here scare tactics, and that's not resulting into anything. So the whole thing that's running up now, to see what's happening, and the guy is alleging torture. They're saying the guy is linked to some people. No, nonsense. Come out and tell us this is what we have. 72 hours, the law is very clear. After 72 hours, you cannot release him. Other than that, his lawyer will file in the bill of habeas corpus. So it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, his lawyers already filed a bill of habeas corpus already. So I think they are. But tomorrow we have. I think if all goes well, tomorrow the two fire chiefs that went to Liberia, they will be here tomorrow to help us discuss about that fire issue and give their perspective about it. And we'll ask a lot of questions tomorrow, and the public will use the lines tomorrow. The public can ask a lot of questions. Hopefully, our lines can be free so they can ask other questions. Meanwhile, on Monday, MLK birthday and Trump's election. But let's go. Lofa, hear from you.
Oh, Monday, the birthday.
What's happening? MLK birthday, holiday, and then Trump inauguration.
And of course we will air it on here. Thank God it's holiday, so we will air it on the closing.
I heard that President Garguah will be in attendance, representing the African leaders.
President Garguah will be in attendance,
representing African leaders.
Normally, quickly, Lofa. Normally, the U.S. government don't invite foreign head of states, but on this occasion, Trump want to change the tradition. This time
around. President Xi.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But that few leaders, I think 4 or 5 of them. But he want to change this time around. But that's not been the culture. They don't invite foreign head of states to their inauguration. But Trump will change this time.
Virginia will represent Africa.
So, regarding this, brother, it's unfortunate that years after years or years before years, we have not done due diligence to the state. Look, security should be considered, a primary concern. Okay. And it's sad to know that today our security sector is yet to invest in themselves to the extent where, when I say invest in themselves, I'm speaking about government to invest in it. What forensic investigation was conducted to bring them to this conclusion? I want to know, because when I listened to the DG, he said the color of the fire dictate that decision that was made. The color. He did not say, okay, after our investigation, we concluded that our investigation led us to this particular position or this idea, and this is where we are. And if that is the case, when and if it is concluded, why are they not charging this man and then allowing the law to take its course? Because even when he's charged, they are not the one to prosecute him like that. Again, he has to go to court, right? Unless I'm seeing or hearing something different, he has to go to court. And the judge will have to, again, they will go through the process. And then when found guilty, then he will get the needed prosecution. It's unfortunate that a government that is still begging to be considered for MCC grant is here abusing the right of Liberian citizens, and that is a major part of the MCC process. Don't disregard that. Human rights. Here we are. They are abusing the right of a Liberian. The fact that he's not given due process is in itself a disregard for what is required of the MCC to enable you to obtain that grant. They're not doing that. If you were to just look around, let's forget, okay, I want to just take my hat off a little bit and look at what happens on the daily basis in the little communities, the bikers who are often beaten and to some extent killed at times. Justice is never served for them. Now, this political case that is heavily influenced by folks with big hands in places, guess what they're doing? They are trying to politicize the investigation process, which is something we should not be surprised about. I do personally support any form of investigation that will prosecute anyone who may have been a part of this entire process. To burn the Capitol, I think that person needs to serve at least about 10 or 15 years in prison. If and only if they're found guilty based on some kind of dignified investigation process. Unfortunately, to have listened to one DG stand up and say, based on eyes observation, okay, the color of the fire, the flame of the fire color made them to believe that it was actually, that was something that started based on whatever, and as a result, it is now considered an arson. You kidding me? This young man, I think, even if he may have been found guilty, or even if he was a part of the process, I think they literally just muddy the water for themselves. Now, all of us out here, we will speculate because the DG himself started the process, and the president, with no idea as to what transpired, claimed that the entire process was instigated by hooligans. So, which to some extent tells me that he had an idea as to what happened. Uncle Joe, weren't you asleep when that fire actually came up? And even when the fire came up, though, Uncle Joe, I more than 100% believe you may not have been up until the next morning when you were briefed on the fire issue. So for you to come out here and claim hooliganism, I know definitely that even in your briefing, I doubt that your chief or whoever may have briefed you on that incident told you that it had to do something with some hooliganism. This
All
is
right.
sad. Look, we have a long way to go, man. Let this man go, seek medical attention, and you guys pursue him to the law and follow the process that needs to be. But I think President Boycott started the entire process of hooliganism, and everyone else is now following. So that just proved the state to be lawless. Thank you.
All right. So for me, where I think, because I am looking, look, I want to believe hindsight 2020. If you were to ask the president again, he will restate his. He will make that statement in a better way. So let's for the sake of this, let's say the president made a mistake. But I want to look at the professional people because I'm looking at what is coming from the professional people. Look, there's a reason why certain statements must come from certain person's mouth. The reason why you match the profession with who is saying it, it comes with a different way. Just imagine if the fire chief, if what Gregory was saying, if that was coming from the fire chief, that would have come with a different gravity. People was going to say, "Oh yeah, that the man was in charge of fire. That he's the one that is speaking to this thing." So maybe he understands what he's saying. But you get the IG speaking about fire. It was so disconnected. Look, you can look. They are how do they call them when you get all the officers together? I don't know, they call them
Team of investigators.
Yeah, no, the security group. We can get more than one
Joint security. Joint security.
Joint security. Even in a joint security investigation, the CIA would talk different thing than what the police would talk, because there are certain things when it is coming from intelligence, the intelligent men should handle that issue. But the people sat there and Gregor just ran through the thing. It just made it look so fake.
But Ben, Charlie, if let me just chime in 10 seconds. That's the reason why when these conferences are being held, every time certain questions are posed, they will say, "Oh, I will let this person respond to that." Speak. Right? Yes. That person will speak to that or that person, and they just distance themselves from it. Because but Gregory Comento, like, all that rule, I won't.
He was everything. He was everything. He was. It just made the whole thing just fishy. And by the way, when you're the one, Gregory, when you're the one that assigned police to that building, it means that you are questionable. It was your men. So the first person that should first be answering question was that, Gregory, where were your men that you sent to to that building? Where are your men's statement? What did they tell you? Instead, they're talking about answer. Country get hard time, man.
Robert, you want to talk about the Brian Edrich, the guy in custody?
Listen, I think that I've not seen any evidence. The police have not shared any detailing evidence to this. Even in his press conference, the public don't know why the police have this man, why they have decided that he is the main suspect. Everything just seems to be vague, like nothing whatsoever. And so how do we even logically want to believe that the police truly have the person who committed the crime? Listen, if anyone is involved in the burning down of the Capitol, I think that person should face the weight of justice. I think that person should have that day in court, and I will be one who will 100% support the government going after criminals. Our political disagreements should not move us to doing what we watch. And so I don't think any decent, well-meaning, and civilized Liberian will support that. Just because you're mad, just because you don't agree with the government, just because certain decisions are not going your way, does not mean that you should go and put the building on fire or burn down homes of folks or anything of that sort. So I don't support this, any kind of way. But it's troubling when you have a government, a police department that have a lot of work to do when it comes to building a trust relationship between the police and the community that they serve. Based on what they've done in the past, the police is not credible. The police, yes, we might have some experienced police officers, but it's clear that these guys are not properly trained. The government have not invested in any kind of annual training program. They are not properly paid. They're not well equipped. And because of all of these and other issues, they are compromised. They are very compromised, and they are highly political. Okay, Gregory Coleman takes orders from the executive mansion. I don't think Gregory Coleman will do anything contrary to what his boss won't allow. Simple as that. And I don't think he will resign, even if his principles are being compromised or his professionalism is being compromised. And so to have a conclusion, to have a suspect, to have a conclusion, one, that is arson, exactly what the president insinuated, even before an investigation took place, is troubling. It's troubling. It's troubling to watch the police use the very same language that were prematurely used by the president of the Republic of Liberia. The president should never, and I want to emphasize, never prematurely speak to anything that is pending investigation. Why would the president assert or conclude that the fire was caused by hooligans? Who are those hooligans? Maybe the president knows something that we don't know. Maybe he knew something we don't know. Why would the president assume anything without allowing the professionals, the experts, to do their job? And it's a coincidence that they came up with these exact findings based on the president's words. And to add fuel to the fire, you've arrested a guy, and you've basically given the public absolutely nothing. When the CEO was shot in New York, and a suspect was arrested, he's still a suspect. A major press conference was held, and I'm not comparing America with Liberia. What I'm basically saying here is, we don't do the bare minimum. The bare minimum here is to at least inform the public. Here are some of the evidences that we have discovered in our investigation why this person is a suspect. You don't have to wait until you go to court. You don't have to pour all of the information out to the public, but give us something. Give us something to think about. Have you seen any evidence to show that this individual was on the scene when a fire occurred? Have the police, have the investigators given us anything? They've given us absolutely nothing. And so he's innocent until proven guilty. Why is he being tortured? Why is he being bullied and forced into naming other names, as we've been told? Why? Why has he not properly been arraigned? Why is he not given the due process that he's constitutionally allowed? And so all of this stuff, Tomalin, it breeds corruption, and it speaks to the instability when it comes to our security in Liberia. This is on the brink of another man who was in government custody, who overnight went to a different country, and up to this day, we don't know, or we have not heard any update on whether or not this individual is still alive or if he's dead. This is the government that we have, and this is the reality. But this is wrong. It's completely wrong. We have not seen anything. This guy could be innocent for all we care. We have not seen anything. They have not given us anything. So I challenge the police director. Give us something. Give us something, man. You can't just tell us we have a suspect and that's it. What made you think that this person is your lead suspect? We need to know. And we don't know, and it's troubling.
Oh, guys, okay, thank you. The last 20 minutes we got. Let us. I was just informed that there's a problem brewing between the Minister of Health, and UNFIL, Dr. Louis Maple and Dr. Duba Chris Young, and people are concerned that it will can affect. We already have a problem with our health sector, and then the leading health people are now having issue. They are fighting. They want the Liberian people to know what you guys think about it. Is you think they're going to pose problem for our health sector more? They're going to affect the workers. They're going to affect financing the areas. Don't forget, UNFIL is like the CDC of Liberia. The one that the Fauci were heading, and the Minister of Health, they're in charge of the health sector. But now you got two bosses there. I think they are having problem. So people are concerned about what's happening. So maybe quickly we can just talk about it, and then just to tease you two, Senegal doing something that I was just informed. Guys, why are we wasting our time in Liberia, man? Senegal, the boy they say the guy he just launched. Damn it, hella, bro. He just launched the first electric bus rapid transit network in sub-Saharan Africa. 23 stations, 3 hubs, and ability to transport 300,000 passengers daily. 1,000 new jobs created. Wow, but that only America they got. But let's talk about our health sector.
But Senegal been having the infrastructure ever since they are here. They just machine now, and then you don't kind of follow that money.
But then the last 20 years, what Liberia do it?
We're fighting war.
What last 20 years?
The past.
You had 3 elections already. Say
20 years.
20 years.
2003. 20 years. We just
2024. Yeah, 2000 from 2005 was that election, right?
No, the war got to 2003.
Yeah, but
So now, it's 20 years.
We have peace, because don't forget now, 2025 making it 20 years since we got no more peace.
But you got to bear in mind that the consequence of the war will linger for many, many years.
We're going to get on an electric bus. But let's talk about the Minister of Health.
I'm trying to say the Senegal ahead of fire.
But we can catch them. Maybe on a burger will catch them. But in the meantime, let's talk about
not even on your children and my children. No.
You saw in the country.
They're going. They are advancing every day.
I have not seen that before that.
We can try. Come again?
Before that.
No, but you can see that you're but okay, that's not an issue. But the infrastructure you have to play is an issue. The guy rolled.
Well, that's why health sector come in.
No.
No,
I'm not going. I want to address this issue.
No.
See,
you know everything you talk about. Let's go over the health sector. Not everything you talk about. Let's go ahead. Yeah, man. Let's go over the health sector. Not everything you're talking today. You're not talking anymore today.
Oh, my boy, you know what?
Yeah, Pewee. Use my plan. MPhil and Minister of Health. What are your thoughts about them fighting?
The health minister and the MPhil boss.
Yeah, they went back from the African report. It's not
a good thing basically. So the health minister is the chief health administrator of the country. So that person is there. The statutory responsibility is to coordinate and superintend all of the major problems relative to our health issue, and that's the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, right? So it is important, and the reason why I think the Ministry of Health is on the board of MPhil, if I'm not mistaken, I spent that person, but MPhil also got a very strategic and significant role to play in the country, particularly in terms of public health and the rest of that. So the role of MPhil is more or less, we didn't know the significance of MPhil until we were engulfed and hit by the Ebola virus at the time. We didn't know this, right? And then it came this young man that sprang out and exhibited an extraordinary skill of leadership, communication, health communication, and the rest of that. Tobo Yensua was the icon that started to expose MPhil's own capacity and ability to do things. We were hit heavily. The region came above Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia. They were the three countries most hit by the Ebola virus at the time. And President Salif had to galvanize international support and did some internal mobilization also with the help and the coordination from Tobo Yensua at the time and emphasizing on those things.
I thought he should have been appointed, but they haven't appointed here.
Where? That's why.
I mean, some position like Liberia helps.
No, Tobo Yensua cannot take the MPhil job again. That's he got to that stage. They've been calling him to get no, he cannot take the job. He didn't speak to me on that, but I know him. We had conversation before other issue, but I know he only go for that job. Tobo will only try to help other lines down. Now, Tobo can take a job in Liberia only if you were to offer him the Minister of Health job. Then he will have to give you some condition to let him function him and believe, right? He will turn it up. He's an extraordinarily very enterprising young man, right? He's very enterprising, and he would use his skills and all of things. Internationally, he won himself a huge international connections and the rest of that. With the John Hopkins University, and he does other work for WHO outside the country and while here and all of the rest of that. So Tobo Yensua's own role in terms of the way he projected the country and the way he coordinated, it catapulted him to a level that today he's admired internationally, he's acceptable internationally, and what have you. He's been receiving a lot of contracts across the world. He's been invited in countries to give Liberia own expertise, the experience of how Liberia got engaged with that process. So Mr. Yensua role at the time. So the health minister and that of the MPhil boss, if we cannot take some time of this in this process, Tomalin, I'm afraid that we headed for some problem, because there should be a coordination, a very wonderful coordination between the two individuals. The Minister of Health will have to coordinate, because now public health is very significant in the world, and part of the reason that's the reason why the WHO is putting into place major public diplomacy on health, on health communication, and strategic health communication, if you will. Now we've gone through in the past 10 years. We've gone through two devastating issues about public health in our country. The first that hit the country very hard was the Ebola virus that killed close to 3,000 plus Liberian citizens. I think, I wonder if I'm not mistaken here, died from that deadly disease. Now we came back and we fought. When we started, we were all lost. We came with some strategy, and the way Mr. Yensua mobilized the rest of the public health team and the Liberian and the President Salif leadership role. That letter she wrote to President Barack Obama, it changed the whole phase of it. President Obama then was very magnanimous to the people of Liberia. He sent 3,800 U.S. Marines on the ground to start that, revolutionize the process. They started to build other major camps and other areas, isolating folks and building those areas, and now people start taking their family members to those areas. That helped significantly with the other international mobilizations. It did help the country, and the Chinese also responded with PPEs and other things, and the Chinese also helped us build some of those areas around the SKD sport complex, the rest of that. So those two institutions, we have to coordinate very well. And again, the whole thing, Tomalin, if you were to go through those things, is the issue of people exhibiting control over power and control over money. Now, MPhil, with the requisite individual in place in MPhil, a lot of support, we have to pass through that issue. And some people believe that when money is hitting an institution, and others that want to have the control. That was bringing the whole problem between the two individuals. It's wrong. The man we have currently at Enfield, he's a very experienced Liberian scientist. We have to respect him, and we have to ensure that the Minister of Health will also have to be respected. I agree, but the both individual will have to go and work on that, because that's not area we go and politicize things. It's about working on preventive and curative processes also. What are those preventive mechanisms we're going to put in place in our country to prevent most of those curable diseases? What are we doing? What are some of those things we have to work along with things internationally? What are things we're trying to put into place? What are other legislation we're doing on behalf of the country, so that when we are engulfed with these kind of things, how can we take major public health preventive mechanism in place that will help the country survive that? They will be different. Now, that's all expressed all over the world. I'm saying quickly, Timoni, that we may still have in the next, we don't know when it's going to come, but we're still going to be engulfed with some of these public health disasters that will come out. When it's out, how we prepare to respond to it, so that we cannot be caught unaware, as it started with us with the Ebola crisis. So there's a need that the ready coordinate this time around. That's why the president will have to pay some attention there. That's a very serious area. Those two institutions, if they are not working together, the president will have to make sure they work together in line with the statutory responsibility of out of those institutions.
Ben, the Minister of Health and the Enfield boss, they are going at it, and people saying they could affect the country.
Huh? Yeah, why that's true, I don't know. I said why that's true that I don't know the entire story. But one thing I know, anytime you see Liberians fighting, that's money issue. It's definitely going to boil down to money issue when this thing should be about the health of the country and how well they can, look, my problem that I've always had with Liberian learner people, the people who learn BB book, my problem about them is how have they been able to use that amount of book that they learn to transform it in Liberia outside of government. I yet to see Liberians doing. Look, I always said it to myself, if I get ready to go to Liberia, I know I love money. I love money so much so, and I know the money because I love money so much, I can't get the amount of money that I want to be paid. I can get it get it through government. So all I can do is to leverage my education and my expertise to go and start something on my own that I can write projects, and there's a lot of projects you can write and open your own small thing that the people places like the World Bank that people can help and invest in. But this issue that everybody want to go to government, everybody, and that's why it becomes so hard. Nobody want to expand. What is the essence of education if you're not actually using it? When I'm saying using it, you're not using it to benefit you or your own people, but everybody wants to take from this small government. That's why the government is so big. Again, I don't know the full story, but I'm just deducing, and I know that at the end of the day, they will be from money business, because I've never seen where Liberian officials are frightened because of the suffering masses. I am yet to see that. I'll rest my case on that one.
Well, like you guys said, I think it's all about money. I think because and they are two professionals though. Dr. Myean is a scientist. Scientist, and Dr. Maplet, she's a health. I think she's a medical doctor. I think. And what's happening is not good for the country. We already have a troubled health sector, and to see the two top figures in the country going at it doesn't augur well for the country. But just to close now, guys, I'll close. Look, I don't know, but sometimes when I see like what I just saw in that place in Kenya, right? No, it hurts my heart. No, because the reality is that anybody tell you that Liberia cannot transform is a lie. Because look, the money, it all comes to the money. I believe if President Boyka tomorrow said, okay, he ain't got fun. I said, look, our national budget, I don't care how you manage, but we're putting in 50% of that budget. We're putting it on development, on the private to create job opportunities, to create opportunities for people, to develop the private sector, to give them some encouragement, some incentives, and then the balance 50%. You say 25% will go for recurring expenses. I don't care how people can feel. The idea, the people with the money they're making, they will cut down. I believe that and the money that we will use from such exercise, you put it towards the health sector, educational sector, agriculture. Look, I think Liberia will be the envy of our peers, because the question I ask people is that back in the day, look at history. Liberia, at one point in time, people said Liberia was like, I mean, when you read our history books, what the envy of our neighbors, okay? Well,
that's true.
Don't forget, we had Lamco,
Education, healthcare, Liberia.
Bomb mines. We had the sugar company. We had the pins company. I mean, so my question is, where are these companies? I mean, why can't we have people, investors, point to our country now to come and provide opportunities for our people and also help our country? Everything we hear, our leaders will say, "Welcome to Liberia. Liberia is now open for business. Come to Liberia and invest now," and so forth. Guys, in your closing, man, just tell us, what's the problem? What is wrong with our country? What will we stop? What we can change it? Maybe this, I will tell you guys, 2029, my last time thinking about Liberian politics. If 2029 comes and I don't get what I pray for, I hope for the country, I'm done. You will not see me in politics. Maybe I'll become look, my calling will be just to now have fun with my grandchildren and enjoy my family now, because I will not take it no more, because I'll be too old.
Yeah, for me, I will be there until God can call me. Seriously,
I'll be
because
done.
Listen, we don't have
Regular
to.
politician just spoke.
We don't have to actually. If I engage into any side of the politics and it didn't work out, I will keep on doing it and keep on advocating. Now, yes, because the point is that if you let it be, for those that will believe that are spoiling it, it will continue to persist and they will take the country backward. So while we live by His all grace, we have to be sure that we play part of the role in the politics by doing what we can do in our own means. But again, the problem of the country is leadership, and I think that's it. Leaders sometimes
Why we can't get it right?
We're not getting it right because the leaders themselves will make all of the good commitments and the promises within their own manifesto, and they cannot manifest those things, and that's the wrong part of it. It is important that the leader will envision some things and begin brave to see the implementation of those things. But leaders and their cronies or their followers, if you will, it is because of that. And to me, it's a difficult thing. And I listened one of the times to Madame Salif, and when she said the difficult process to fight corruption was the issue about even the pastor will come to you to appeal. Yes. No, the woman said that thing, and I said it was certain thing. And that's the problem of the leadership. Leaders have allowed the outside influence to exhume or corrupt them. And that's where the leadership process is here. So imagine if the president of a country would say to you, Tomalin is part of my cabinet, but Tomalin was involved into some very fictitious activities that is tantamount to malfeasance and misfeasance. But then in the night of, I went to church as the president. After service, then the pastor called, special call. The president got to come in my office for special prayer. And the pastor prayed for the president. Then you leave in the pastor say, Mr. President, the council all man came. We concern Tomalin Joy, all our member. He got involved into this thing. When Madam Sadi said that thing, I started to reflect. And it's true.
It's true though.
It's true. She said, so friends, family member, other people come to you at night. The woman said, to the fight against corruption is very difficult. When you have a loved one, right? You have a loved one. And she said, it's real. If you have a loved one, for instance, now her sister too, and other side, her big sister, talking for other people.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
it is a difficult thing. Then your pastor put in particular the issue with the pastor. Because they say when it comes to family thing, I can go to my family, I will say this, but the pastor, that the person that's supposed to be praying for you. You know, Ben, so that's the problem we face in the country.
And that's why they say, and for me, that's why when you want to do something in Liberia, something,
just go ahead and do it.
Do it, and don't put it in the hands of your family. Because if the family damage that thing,
nothing you do.
There's nothing you're gonna do. I mean, everybody has some way or other have lost money, some way to some kind of family. But if that was some kind of different person that you have given that stuff to, man, you can take legal action easily. But you try to think against your family. Hey,
that'd be a serious thing in the country, and that's why the country is moving.
On the family.
Yeah, so to change the country, what we need to do is for a leader to just come to the country and say, "I'm come to implement." Now you call up, you appoint your government officials immediately after your inauguration. If all of them got confirmed, then what you do, you call a major cabinet meeting. Yeah, like the introductory cabinet meeting. You say to them, member of the cabinet, congratulations to you on the occasion of me appointing you. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to stick to doing the job for the Liberian people, nothing but the job for the Liberian people. If you're not part of this process, I want you to just sign a letter now today telling Mr. President, thank you, and I will withdraw your nomination and reappoint someone I believe that will do the job. But if you're part of this process, it's this. In that cabinet meeting, I will invite the police chief, I will invite the AFL chief of staff, I will invite the immigration boss, I will invite all of the major security apparatus in the country, and then instruct them that yes, what we intend to do is to do the job for the Liberian people. If my mother, as the president, is driving in a vehicle that is not registered and legally pay taxes in the country, Mr. Police Chief, I expect you to impound that vehicle and fine that vehicle be impounded until the fine is paid, right? And if that can be done, if you say those kind of a thing, and you tell the police director, so if you don't want to work, just say it. If you cannot do that, if I found out that my mother did that, I, as the president, my mother or my wife or my children did that, and you didn't punish them, I will dismiss you arbitrarily. There will be no suspension process. If that instruction went through the process, and then you announce to ministers and other things, now the only thing you will say to them is, I won't be the kind of leader that will be reactionary. Because in the kind of thing as leader, you have to be mindful. If you deploy this kind of a reactionary tendency, it will come back to haunt you. So what you do is not just every turn day and Harry will say something wrong and take action. Now, if I say Minister Ben or Minister Tomalin was involved in corruption, I will have to investigate that and find out if it's true if I take action against Tomalin. But if you start punishing people on the basis of what they've done against the country, and start putting in the place the rule, as soon as you put in the place the rule of law in the bureau, everybody starts doing the right thing. Trust me, everybody will believe. So you come and say, this is your budget. We do a budget to pay roads. And part of the road, we want to do one serial road, now substandard road. You call the public web minister, you assess the whole thing. You, the president, you have your delivery office monitoring some things. You go to see how to get a contract. When they finish giving all the contract, you call whosoever that receives the contract. You say, okay, this contract is how many million to build this road to go here? Say, Mr. President, this contract is $30 million. So can I see how much did you receive for this contract? What's the first payment? And you, the president office, review that and find out that there's some discrepancy there in terms of the payment and the worth of the road. Because they will get a contract. The road is $30 million. The man will take so now $5 million or $7 million for the money and share it in community or other area, and then get a person $20 million. Then the person go and build substandard road. In no time the road start to bust. Pop holes start busting up.
Man, look, it's
that leader, you need a brave president and a decisive president that will move to say, no pastor will call me. You go to the church, tell the pastor, you won't pray for me, pray for me. The relationship between you and myself will be, pastor, you are pastor, and I'm your president. If you got any other thing that I think I can solve as a president, you come to me direct, I will solve that. But anybody that will get involved in corruption, don't call me and tell me about it. If you told me about it, I won't come to the church again.
It's sad.
If you told me about it, I will not come to the church, but I will expose you as the pastor. You know, the president is so powerful enough that the president himself can change things. Too many churches start doing those things. So people start giving the real contract, and then you try to use the justice minister. And that justice minister should be somebody that really trust. Use the justice minister, people that will receive. You want that people that will be giving contract to build our roads. If you give bribe, and you don't build the requisite road, you'll go to jail.
And
You'll go to jail.
even though I do not have a degree in
will change.
engineering, but I can tell you, like the small roads in Maserati, right in the city, those things take 2-3 years, and they're all destroyed. No, go to Harper City. The concrete, even though like when I talked to other engineering, they said that Tubman did a lot of wasteful stuff with the pavement in that place. But the streets there,
the man built after
that place, those streets, Tubman, the concrete, the street, those concretes are still there. So
that's why giving Tower and those chance they're gonna make it. Tower was a visionary.
I can think to myself. So if these things these gonna have pavement can last for 50, 60 years, then why are we using the asphalt there? And we're not even getting the correct one. I saw one government put it in, and then the next government leave. Everything one of them.
It's a sad thing.
It's sad, man.
Sad thing, and we just pray for the best. And so we just pray for the best because I don't know when we get it right. America is about to go through their own transition. In 4 days, Trump takes office. Trump already, the guy already using his influence. The powerful chairman of the intelligence committee, Mike Johnson, removed the man.
They removed the man. Yeah,
the man Mike Johnson to do it. And then Trump he appointed. People he put in the office. Telling them you're confirming people, and they will confirm his people.
No, they got a number. The fact that you saw the defense secretary confirmation went the way it went. He's what he's doing, and that's Trump, right? And I've been taking some time to read about him. There's a theory in political science called that's linked to foreign policy called the madman theory. Read about the madman theory. That's the kind of a theory Trump is trying to deploy. The madman theory in political science and in foreign policy is the theory that a leader is irrational and unpredictable. So the unpredictability of a leader can make other leaders to take them serious. Now, you saw what happened when he said hair will get loose if there's nothing about the Gaza peace something, right? What happened? The guy then went yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday they came in or something up. Though it's still trying to pass it.
It's only not yet.
Yeah. So when the leader is not stable, it's very unpredictable. His counterpart will fear him because they will say him. We don't know what the man will do next. We don't know what to do. So the madman theory do work in some cases, and it's good to deploy it when you're having some adversary politically or diplomatically that will have some tendency that is not good. So Trump is trying to deploy the madman theory here in this case, and he's doing most of those things. Trust me, he's going to. The only man I'm a bit afraid. You don't think that all the men. The only man I'm a bit worried about is his confirmation is Kash Patel. Right?
You get it.
The guy that said he got hit this.
Yeah.
The guy hit this. Imagine?
The woman attorney general, I got problem with my.
No, she's good. She's good. We got 20 years experience.
Yeah, but that other one for FBI and I don't care who for intelligence and Kelsey Gabbard.
Cassie will not be. I mean, she would never get confirmed.
Guys, let's call your day, man. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. We'll have the fire guys on air. Hopefully, they'll be here with us, and we'll talk more about the fire. So, guys, thanks for watching. Okay, guys.
Okay, Pewee. Tomalin. See you guys.